All right, here we go. Aries Spears.
Yo, what's up?
Welcome back.
Yeah, man, me and you kind of seem to have like a Howard Cosell, Muhammad Ali thing going on.
Yeah,
In terms of chemistry, man. People really dig it.
I
And
dig it.
when Aries is on Vlad, I immediately hit click. So, much love to y'all, man. Apparently I'm having some sort of impact.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, just recently the Equalizer 3 dropped.
Woo!
And you saw it. You lost your mind on Instagram. I haven't seen it yet. Is that good?
Fucking great.
Fucking great.
Like I said, Denzel is a black superhero
Okay.
who needs to be protected at all costs. And like I said in the movie, when he gives you the death stare, the stroke lips, you're in trouble.
What makes the movie so good?
Everything. I talked about it on my podcast, man. It's like, back in the 80s, and I think obviously most of the 90s, you had guys like, the reigning champs of action, Schwarzenegger and Stallone.
Mm-hmm.
It was all about the brawn. It was all about the explosions and the guns. Very little acting required. Whereas with Denzel, you get the action, you get the explosions, you get the gunfights, you get all the man food demographical shit, but you get acting. You get intense acting. As much as I love John Wick, by John Wick 3, I was John Wicked out. But Denzel, I could watch him every day, all day, twice on Sundays, man.
Well, the reason I brought this up was because recently I had Michael Jai White on my show.
Boo!
Boo?
That horse shit he said.
Boo? Okay, you're talking about
Yes,
okay,
the interview.
Okay, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
You know what I'm about to say.
Sam Jackson versus Denzel. Sam is a better actor.
That's what he said.
Listen.
Well, he said, okay, hold on, and we'll play the clip. But what he said was that you could take almost every Denzel role and swap it out with Samuel L. Jackson.
So let's think about recasting Sam Jackson in roles that Denzel played. Let's experiment with that. Now, could Sam Jackson have played an American gangster?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Could he have played
Training Day?
Training Day?
Yeah.
You know good and damn well he could have played
he
Training
could
Day,
have that.
right? Could he have played, couldn't have played Malcolm X.
No.
Denzel looks more like him.
Yeah.
Fences?
Yeah.
Damn right.
Glory?
Glory?
I don't know. I don't know about that one.
Okay,
I think Denzel was sort of uniquely qualified.
Okay, now let's reverse it. What roles that Sam Jackson played could Denzel play?
Could Denzel play Nick Fury? Maybe. I can see it.
Pulp Fiction?
No.
You start going down the Snakes on the Plane.
Well,
other guys. All those, now when you start thinking about Samuel Jackson's work that nobody else could have played, don't you start doing this a little bit?
Well, I actually looked it up. The top 100 stars in leading roles at the domestic box office. Number one is Samuel Jackson with a domestic box office of $5.7 billion.
Right.
With 67 movies.
Yeah, so
He averages $85 million a film.
yeah, so the thing is, like,
Robert Downey Jr. is 2 at
So-
$5.5 million with 44 films.
yeah, so when you think about it, when you say best actor, just like most roles that they could play, I look at Samuel Jackson. He could play damn near anything. He plays comedy, drama, like Broadway. Like there's nothing that guy can't do or hasn't done.
Listen, I think in certain roles, they're both interchangeable, but no question when you look at Denzel's filmography in terms of his body of work and diversity. Like when he brought up, he said, okay, Sam Jackson is the junkie in Jungle Fever.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Denzel didn't play a junkie in terms of drugs, but he played an alcoholic, which is a sort of a junkie in Flight. And I don't think that the two are that vastly different.
Agreed.
So right there is boom for boom. Denzel played a paraplegic in Bones. He played a loving father who was going through hell, and John Q, who I don't think there was a single dry eye, especially from men in the theater, if you had sons. You know, you look at A Crooked Cop in Training Day, autobiographical civil rights leader in Malcolm X, a drug kingpin in American Gangster. And Denzel has done Shakespeare, Much Ado About Nothing, Macbeth. I think Sam Jackson could do Shakespeare or Macbeth. To he if not beeth, motherfucker. So come on, man. Denzel is a thespian, man.
I don't know, man. I think he has somewhat of a point because Samuel Jackson's a bad motherfucker. Once you start laying it out. Once you start laying out his history, I mean, he goes back to, was it Goodfellas?
I think before that.
He was doing Coming to America.
Listen, longevity, Denzel has been in it since St. Elsewhere. When he quit TV off of St. Elsewhere, which is where he got his start. Mm-hmm. So from Carbon Copy, which most people don't even know that movie.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's the only comedy he ever made.
Wait, Denzel did a comedy?
Called Carbon Copy.
How was it? Be honest.
It was okay. It was okay, but Denzel has always been honest about comedy not being his forte.
Right.
Which is why he doesn't do comedy, because it makes him nervous. Think about it. An actor of that caliber, that iconic status, being honest enough to give comedy the proper respect as an art form. Now, and listen, to those other serious actors who have done it and who have done it well, De Niro in the Fockers franchise,
yep.
Analyze This, Analyze That.
Yep.
Jack Nicholson in one of my favorite movies of all time, As Good as It Gets.
Right.
So, you know, there are guys who do it, but there's a certain amount of bravery and skill that come with comedy and how hard that art form is. But even that being said, Denzel and Sam Jackson have both been in the game for decades. They both have a vast body of work. They're both immensely talented. Mm-hmm. But I just think in terms of real depth, come on, man. Like I said, look at Denzel's body of work. Civil rights leaders, drug kingpins, fucking crushed fathers, tears, alcoholic. And like I said, Shakespeare. Much Ado About Nothing and Macbeth. You know how hard that is?
Well, Samuel Jackson played superheroes, supervillains. He played junkies, like you said. The Django character, I thought he brilliantly pulled that off. I don't know if
Denzel could do that?
Ooh, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know if I could say.
I don't think so.
It's one of those things where
character.
Heath Ledger did Joker so well.
Incredibly well.
It's hard to follow that.
Right.
So,
although Joaquin Phoenix, I think, did a better job.
I thought Joaquin Phoenix was good, but ain't nobody fucking with Heath Ledger.
Ooh, I don't know, man.
Oh, did your balls drop off?
Well, see, the thing is, the Joker movie was all about just the Joker. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
It wasn't like there was no Batman in it or whatever.
If Heath Ledger did his own Joker movie, same as Joaquin, based on that interpretation, that's just as solid.
Maybe, yeah. No, I mean, listen, he killed that role. I like that role better than Jack Nicholson, and that says a lot. To say that you outdid Jack Nicholson?
Well, a lot of people will say that the best Batman of all time is Michael Keaton. To me, it's Ben Affleck.
And they brought him back recently.
Right. So to me, Ben Affleck
the Flash
is that guy.
movie. Did you watch the Flash movie?
Yes.
Yeah. I thought that was great.
Yeah, I thought it was great. Nostalgic.
Yeah, and they even quoted certain lines from the original movie. Brilliantly done.
But back to Denzel. I'm simply saying, I think both of those guys are interchangeable in terms of what they can do and what they've done. And listen, the Django character was so explosive that it's hard for me to see anybody else doing that.
Right.
But when you're Denzel Washington, I don't think there's anything beyond his reach.
Well, like for example, Michael is actually breaking it down. So, for example, Fences, great movie.
Yep.
Great movie. Just it was almost like a play.
For the record,
in a way.
Viola Davis,
she killed it.
Her snot deserved its own Oscar. I've been standing in the same place for 18 years. I've been standing there with you. Did you see the snot on that bitch's lip? That deserved an Oscar, nigga.
Right. You could put Samuel in that role, and it would be the similar type of movie. It would be just as good.
Okay.
Agreed?
I still give that to Denzel.
Okay.
Something about Sam. Sam's got a lot of Sam-isms.
Yeah.
That you worry about with him.
Right. In Star Wars, I'm not sure Samuel Jackson was the right fit
I was
for
just
the
glad
Jedi.
to see a nigga in space that wasn't Chewbacca.
Wait, Chewbacca's black?
He was the closest thing to a nigga. Prior to us seeing Lando Calrissian.
Right, because Lando came
the second one.
The second movie.
Right. So in Star Wars 1, you was like, ain't no niggas in space?
Just Chewbacca.
There it is.
There we go.
There
That guy.
we go.
That guy.
Tall and black.
I've never heard this before.
Yeah.
You know, allegedly, by the way, this is a little bit of a side note. Allegedly, because Samuel Jackson and Tupac, I guess, were really good friends.
Mhm.
And Tupac was being considered for one of the Star Wars movies, you know, at the time that he died.
Really?
Yes. And what I do know, though, like that's sort of like a fuzzy type of maybe, but I do know, I think Edie from The Outlaws said that Tupac was actually cast for Will Smith's role in Independence Day before he passed away.
I'm glad they went to Will Smith.
Tupac might have pulled it off. Tupac might have pulled it off.
The one thing about Will Smith, and I will say of all the rappers that act, to me, he's by far the best one.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's the biggest. Yeah, he's the biggest rapper turned movie star.
Right,
by
but
far.
Will has the look of what a movie star is supposed to be. Over 6 feet tall,
Yeah.
nice build,
Well, wait, hold
square
on,
jaw,
hold
good
on.
looking.
Actors in general aren't really tall and, you know, well built like that.
Let me
as a
tell you
whole.
something. There's
The
a
best actors, I wouldn't even say you could.
There's a thing I do on my podcast where
Okay.
me and my partner talk about actor, movie star. There are some guys who are great actors, but they're not movie stars. There are guys who are movie stars, but aren't great actors. And then there are the few who are both. Denzel, De Niro, Pacino, De Niro, the icons.
Okay.
Wait a minute, let me finish.
Go ahead.
They're movie stars and actors. Schwarzenegger, Stallone, especially in their heyday, were movie stars.
Yeah.
Box office. They weren't actors. Daniel Day-Lewis, Gary Oldman, Gary Sinise, great actors, not movie stars.
Okay. Well, Robert De Niro, considered one of the best ever.
Yes.
Movie star and actor. He's like 4 feet tall.
Yes. Okay.
Same thing with Pacino.
Right, but I'm just saying
They're not well built, tall, heartthrob.
I'm saying, well, leading man, action movie.
Okay, you're talking about action movies. That's a whole different story. If you're talking about action movies, then yes, I will take a step back. Because clearly Will Smith is built for action movies based on his overall look.
Right.
But movie stars, Johnny Depp, movie star, little frail little
He's
guy.
a weird homeless dude that made it.
Weird homeless dude that just
Every
somehow made
picture,
it.
he just looks outrageously homeless and disheveled.
But yet he gets the biggest roles.
Yeah,
Pirates of the Caribbean, forget about it.
Let me tell you one of the most slept on, and I think we did this when we did the podcast with Gerard. Black Mass, as far as gangster movies go, I think slept on, underappreciated, undervalued, undertalked about.
Yeah.
That movie, his transformation as Whitey Bulger, Johnny was a beast. He was intimidating.
Well, I mean, one of the things that was brought up, the reason why we even talked about this with Michael was that I had an interview with Fred the Hammer Williamson.
Mm.
And Michael, actually, we arranged for him to kind of crash the interview and so forth. And in the interview, Fred was like, Samuel L. Jackson, his movies don't make any money. His movies aren't profitable. And then Michael kind of just sat there and just didn't say anything. And afterwards, he was like, look up who the biggest grossing actors of all time is.
Samuel Jackson ain't the greatest fucking actor out there, but he's making gazillion dollars. Because when they think of 5 roles, they think of Samuel Jackson, Denzel Washington, blah, blah, blah. Maybe 3 or 4 guys, right? But the black audiences in the ghetto don't really give a shit about these guys. Let me tell you. They don't give a shit about Samuel Jackson. They don't give a shit about Denzel. They like guys like him, guys like me, but we ain't getting 20 million a picture or 10 million a picture. We got to fight and scrap and dig our own shit. We got to make ourselves viable by ourselves. They get created. But if a studio brings them in, they just automatically, this is Samuel Jackson movie, right? And how many fucking movies has Samuel Jackson made that made money? I mean, the money that he makes and the money that it costs to make a film, they don't make even, man. They don't make any fucking money. I'm gonna tell you now, those movies don't do shit. Because the budgets are too big, and Samuel Jackson ain't that big of a draw. But to white Hollywood, that's all they know.
Sam Jackson is
$5.7 billion. That's how much his movies have generated.
That. Sam Jackson is one of the few actors whose movies never went to the 99-cent bin.
Never.
There are times when I've seen Wesley Snipes.
Well, actually, there's been a few.
Maybe a few. But for the most part, all of Sam Jackson's movies hit the theaters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, they hit the theaters, but they weren't always great movies.
What my man Patrice O'Neal, late great Patrice O'Neal, one of the greatest comedians of all time, once said on Opie and Anthony, Sam Jackson is the only actor immune to the end of my career movies. Movies that actors have made that are so bad or just they stop being hits that their careers are over. Sam is immune to that. Sam works.
Yeah.
He's never not in a movie. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, like Bruce Willis. Like at the end,
a lot of his shit was straight 99 set bin.
Right. You can tell that at one point he just stopped churning down scripts. He's like, I'll just take whatever y'all give me.
Yeah. Sam has always been in something that seems to be of either A, quality or something that gets seen by the masses.
Well, still, I mean, his latest project was Nick Fury on Disney Plus, which was great.
Sam's that dude, man.
He's that dude.
But I'm just saying, Denzel is the king.
Okay, so you would put Denzel over Samuel Jackson.
I would say Denzel is Jordan, Sam is LeBron.
Okay. Although some people would argue that LeBron is better than Jordan.
Well, idiots exist.
Okay. The writer's strike. Are you at all affected by this?
No, because I can go do stand-up.
Okay, but I'm saying you got the stand-up. I get that.
Right.
But were there any
I was affected before the strike.
Nobody was hiring you for movies. You've been in an eternal strike this whole time.
Yeah, man, I don't even know what a strike means.
Rex, I actually asked this to Fred Williamson. He said, I don't give a shit. He said, the movies I make, and he actually said it. He said, what was it called? He said it's a financial base or something like that. He has like a certain classification where he's independent and finances his own movies, but he still has to pay something to the Writers Guild, but they give him an exception, and it's sort of a weird, sort of in the middle type of thing. Listen, I'm not a big fan of the strike. I think that there's a lot of bullying going on right now.
I agree. I think it's bullying, and I think it's fucked up.
Yep.
And I think it's, corporate greed.
Yep.
And the little man having to fight for his piece of the pie, which is ridiculous. I've always said, man, I know that in this business, people, when they say the saying, well, it's show business, they put so much emphasis on the show part being more important. I mean, the business part being more important than the show. It's a business. It's show business. But I don't think one is less than the other. If anything, I think one is just as important as the other. Without the show, you have no business. Right. You have no business.
Well, without the business, you have no show.
Well, I think the show comes before the business, doesn't it?
No.
The show is the business.
You need the money to put on the show,
yeah,
right?
You need the money.
You have to put up the upfront money and hope you get it back.
Well, times aren't like they used to be. You don't need the big studios nowadays. It helps. I certainly think that's still the best way to go. But nowadays, with your phone and with these cameras now, and you can almost do shit yourself.
Well, you can do shit yourself, and you have always been able to do shit yourself. There's always been low budget movies. That there's always been like weird movies like Blair Witch Project that was done with camcorders and somehow blew up and made millions of dollars. But if you want to put on a big production, once you get serious about it, it takes a certain amount of money. It takes a certain amount of investment to put it in. You know what I'm saying? Like none of the great movies. I know, but I don't think with an iPhone.
I don't think the business part should devalue the show part as though it's not as important.
Well, it works hand in hand.
Hand in hand. Well, then give it a 50-50. But don't devalue that like somehow one is more important than the other.
You think that's what's happening right now?
Yes, I think that's always what's been trying to happen. Is that, we're the studios, we're the networks, you need us more than we need you. No, just because people want, and I think sometimes that's where you kind of insult the buying public. We want to see quality shit. We want quality actors. And I know last time you and I were here, we got into it a little bit about the whole AI discussion. Yeah. And when I was reading the comments, it was interesting because not like you care or somehow people's opinion is going to sway what you think and feel, but a lot of people are like, Vlad, you're out of your fucking mind. You're not giving enough credit to the buying public. We want quality actors. We want quality work. And an AI computer can't give you that. There's nothing like a human touch.
Yes.
A real human touch.
Yes. An AI computer can't do it right now. But things are moving and things are developing. So, for example,
I don't care.
For example, let me just say this: we incorporate AI into our business right now. Some of the things that we release, like in terms of the written type stuff, is now being done by AI, which ultimately frees up the time of some of my writers in order to do more creative stuff. They don't have to be bogged down with sort of like the everyday,
but
everyday work.
the true thought process, which comes from talent, gut, instinct,
It's changing.
feel.
It's changing.
Let me tell you something.
It's changing and it's evolving.
Here.
Right now, you're right. 5 years from now, you might not be right anymore.
Can I look into this camera, please?
You can. Go ahead.
I don't care how good robotic pussy get. It don't ever trump real pussy.
Not the same thing.
Exactly the same thing.
Not the same.
There's exactly the same
Not the
thing.
same comparison.
Yes, it is.
Because you can't make. There's no such thing
There's
as
a talent that comes from ideas. That is a talent. If everybody could shit out great ideas, award-winning ideas, everybody would do it.
Well, here's the thing. Now, what's going to start to happen in AI is that you're going to have people with great ideas who don't have the means right now to create movies out of those ideas. In a few years, they'll be able to create movies just with their ideas. You know what I'm saying? You'll be able to come up with a script in your head and say, okay, I want to have a movie with this script with these types of characters, and the AI will actually spit it out for you. The same way it's doing with pictures right now.
So AI will be able to put the dialogue together
Yes.
that would take place between
Yes.
two human beings.
It's already doing that. They're already creating scripts with AI. So what I'm
Can you give
saying
me an
is,
example of a great award-winning AI script?
it's still brand new. It hasn't happened.
Well, until it happens, I'm not buying it.
But there's already, like, for example, there's a song with Drake and The Weeknd that's being submitted for a Grammy. Now, it's not going to win, but I'm saying it's being officially submitted and looked at for a potential Grammy that was done by AI.
Meaning they didn't write the lyrics?
Drake and The Weeknd were not involved in this at all.
So AI came up with the lyrics?
What AI did, what I believe in this particular case, was that a guy actually came up with the lyrics and had AI create voices that sounded like Drake and The Weeknd.
And you said it's been submitted for a Grammy?
Yes.
To be continued.
To be continued.
I want to have this conversation with
Yes.
you when we find out what that end result is.
Well, it's not going to win, but the fact that they're actually taking it as
Why
for
wouldn't you say it would
consideration,
win? Why wouldn't it win?
because I don't think it was that great of a song to beat out.
And
a
why do you
traditional
think
song.
that was?
It's brand new, though.
No.
It's
Fuck
brand
with
new.
that. You're backtracking. Why do you think that
backtracking.
is?
I'm not backtracking.
So no. If you don't think it will win, and you're saying it won't win based on it's not being good enough, versus if The Weeknd and Drake did it themselves, now it may be good enough to win, as it should.
There's always going to be things that are very good when they're done by hand that ultimately machines will replace. It's always been like this.
You want to see that happen?
It doesn't matter whether you and I want to see
No.
it. It's
Do
going
you-
to happen. It's
Give
called
me
progress.
your opinion. Do you want to see that happen?
There was a guy.
Because if that happens, doesn't that put you out of business?
Absolutely.
So you want to see that happen?
It might.
Answer my question. Do you
It
want
might
to see
happen.
it?
If it happens, then I will have to pivot. This is what life is. When I got into music, okay, listen to me. When I got into me being a career music person, I was doing mixtapes. And I had award-winning mixtapes. I won Mixtape of the Year and everything else like that. I was making my money by selling those mixtapes to mom and pop stores. But you know what was happening? CDs were going away. Those mom and pop stores were going away. So I pivoted. I pivoted into video. I started doing DVDs.
So what if
and what happened next? DVDs started going away.
And you pivoted
and
again.
I pivoted again to YouTube.
So what happens if it gets to a point where AI makes it you can't pivot? Because according to you, the machines are getting so
then I will
advanced.
pivot to a whole different career.
So-
This is life. This is what happens. You can't be mad at technology. You can't be mad. You can't be like the guy that's yelling like, oh, back in my day, it was so great.
Nobody's yelling back in their day, but what I'm saying is if you get to a point where you let the machines become too much, then what are you doing?
The machines are already running shit. Computers are already running shit. You have a full-blown supercomputer in your pocket right now.
So you just look forward to the day when mankind is extinct.
Well, I mean, it's not going to be within my lifetime.
Oh,
But,
well
you
then
know,
fuck it, be selfish.
But at some point, things are taking over.
I like it. That's a good attitude.
At
Atta
some
boy.
point, things are
Atta boy.
taking over, and you could try
Fuck
to fight
your
it. You could
fuck
try
them
to get
kids, as long as you ain't
fuck them
affected.
kids.
All right.
It just is what it is, man.
I got you.
And I don't get mad at it. And it just like, for example, like when I look at the writer's strike, I think, okay, look, if your job as a writer is somewhat being replaced by AI
Or as an actor.
or if you're as an actor is being replaced by AI to a certain degree. Because listen, AI allows Indiana Jones to be seen as a 35-year-old in the new movie.
And that's great for 10 minutes. We don't want a whole movie of that.
Well, but it's like 20 minutes long. You see,
Okay.
you see a young Harrison Ford through like 20 minutes of the movie,
I
right?
thought that was too long.
Okay. I actually didn't mind it.
I
love, for example, I watched like The Mandalorian. I love to see a young Luke Skywalker show up in the finale of like season 2. I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
So you want to pay whatever movie tickets are going for now? What, $20? I don't know what they are.
Right.
But you want to pay $20 to go see a movie with, let's say, your favorite actor, Robert De Niro, against Denzel Washington, all AI.
Well, I mean,
real actor.
Robert De Niro was a young Robert De Niro in The Irishman.
That's not what I asked you. If a whole movie with just AI, De Niro and Pacino, or De Niro and Denzel.
If it's a great movie, absolutely. If it's a great movie. At the end of the day, it's a product. We're creating a product right now, right? You and I.
You like sex with condoms on.
Nobody likes sex with condoms.
No, based on what you're saying, that's sex with a condom.
Listen, at one point people used regular, cameras with film. And I remember, film, it's the quality, vinyl, you'll never duplicate, the vinyl sound on a CD. And they're true. That is true. But who really listens to music on vinyl anymore?
Dude, everything.
In fact, listen, I had heard that 80% of people who buy vinyl these days don't own a record player. Let that sink in. Let that sink in.
Everything that's new ain't great.
Yeah.
And there are some people that wish that when it comes to certain things in life, we could go backwards. Anonymity at one point was a great thing. Now everybody's got a phone, which means everybody's got a fucking voice. Everybody don't deserve to be heard.
Yep. But here we are with social media.
Everybody shouldn't be allowed in the Studio 54.
Yeah, you talked about this before.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Yep. But Studio 54 now has a back door, and a whole lot of influencers are now making their way into Studio 54.
What it used to be.
It just is what it is, man. It's progress.
All progress ain't good progress.
Yeah. And sometimes you got to back up off it a little bit, but progress is progress. You're not going to stop it. Listen, there was a guy that used to walk down the street, he used to light torches, with oil, and then electricity came and he lost his job.
Well, thank God for that.
You know what I'm saying?
Thank God for indoor plumbing.
Indoor plumbing, air conditioning.
Yes.
Back in the day, the king would have guys or women with big feathers that would fan him and so forth. Now they can turn on the air conditioning.
Yes.
Listen, I mean, I've been to parts of Jamaica where they didn't have like toilets and plumbing and shit like that. Like, you don't want to go back to that. You don't want to go back to that. In general, technology helps a lot. Yes, there's going to be some things that fuck up along the way, but in general,
all I'm saying is at the end of the day, nothing should ever replace a human touch. And when you talk about technology, a lot of people don't like the fact that when you call to get customer service or help, you got to go through fucking machines now, only to end up doing all these prompts to talk to a human anyway.
Listen, people used to make cars through the human touch. People used to do farming through the human touch. Now, in the mass-produced world, you could create a lot more product by using robots and machines. It just is what it is.
We're splitting hairs here. We know what we're saying. I'm saying you're right in certain aspects, and you're saying I'm right in certain aspects.
Yes.
All I'm saying is let's not devalue the human touch.
Okay.
There's nothing like when you was a kid and you fell on the ground and scraped your knee and got that little boo-boo, nothing felt better than having your grandmama stuff your face in a 30F size titties and kiss you and tell you, baby, it's gonna be all right. I don't want a robot to do that.
In any
cocoa butter on a fat black woman's titties is very comforting.
Okay.
I don't want to smell metal. I don't want cocoa butter on metal.
Listen, on any serious production, regardless of the industry, there's always one human at the very top who says yes or no. I don't think that'll ever be replaced by a robot. But there's someone at the top that says, yeah, we're going to go forward with this, or nah, I think this is not going to work. There's always going to be humans in charge of certain things.
And there's a lot of those humans are in the entertainment industry as CEOs and heads of networks and studios and don't know what the fuck they're doing and making bad decisions.
I mean,
so that can work either way.
You could think that, but when you have these, these big studios that are creating dope projects, like for example, like I like what, what's the name of the CEO, Bob Iger. A Disney CEO. I love what he does. I love the projects they put out. I think Disney is a top-notch studio.
Well,
and they've been around for 100 years at this point.
Well, whoever at HBO made the decision to cancel Winning Time should be fired.
I know. I found out that it was canceled as I was watching the finale.
I found out from the sixth, around the same time, my boy hit me and sent me the text and was like, canceled.
I'm watching the finale and I'm on Twitter and it's like, yo, this is the final season. So you mean to tell me that this season ends
with the Celtics,
with them losing,
right?
Losing to the Celtics.
There's a strange, eerie irony that just shows you the Celtics are better than the Lakers, even in TV.
The casting was so brilliant on that show.
Yes, it was.
Like, they really nailed Magic Johnson. They nailed
Magic. Nailed Kareem.
Yes.
You know who, and of course they nailed this one because I not only know Devon Nixon, but his dad was my manager, Norm Nixon. Okay. And of course he looks just like him. But what's interesting to me is a lot of the Lakers have been shitting on the show.
Really? Which ones?
Kareem said it was boring. West.
Kareem doesn't like anything. Like
Jerry West.
Has Kareem ever said that he likes anything in life?
No, Magic is shit on it. James Worthy is shit on it. Magic shit on it. Jerry West tried to sue HBO for defamation of character because he said they're portraying him as like some substance abuse maniac. A lot of the Lakers don't like the show, man. And I've been wanting to reach out to Norm to ask him, how realistic is your son's portrayal? Because from what I knew of Norm is a country boy from Macon, Georgia. And the way they portrayed him, especially in the first season, I'm like, that might have been Norm when he was younger because people act different when they're young, but the Norm I know, that's some bullshit. So.
I mean, listen, Adrian Brody playing Pat Riley.
Phenomenal. Who I wasn't sold on at first.
I wasn't sold on him at first either, but he pulled it off. The guy who played the head coach, what's his name?
I don't know his real name. Paul Westhead, though. Jason.
Yeah, Jason Segel.
Yeah.
Pulled it off. But really they got Magic.
Oh, the Magic guy looks, the smile.
Yes.
The profile, the hair, everything.
Why would they cancel it?
I don't know. I think there's some internal shit going on. Because I just go, why are they canceling this?
Well, I'll say this. Maybe this is part of it. There was a news article that came out recently, and they basically looked at all of the streaming services to see which service had the highest cancellation rate, and HBO Max was number one.
Really?
More people canceled their HBO Max subscription than any other service.
Well, this don't help.
Yeah. Apple TV Plus is actually the least canceled.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So clearly they're trying to figure out how to get the streaming thing working.
Yeah, but I wonder what constitutes something being canceled, though. Because it's not like it's based on a rating system.
Well, no, it is.
I thought it was subscriptions, though.
Yeah, subscriptions and view time. I mean, all this is very carefully watched.
Right.
Listen, I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe it was just too expensive because clearly there's a blank check associated with that.
Right.
I mean, there's so many big scenes.
Yeah.
I'm sure some of it's CGI and so forth.
And we talking about great performances. Fucking John C. Reilly.
Oh, yeah.
As Bus.
As Dr. Bus, yeah.
At first I was stuck on, I know John C. Reilly as a comedian so much. I'm like, is he going to pull this off? The look?
Yeah.
The acting?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Oh, great show. I'm upset. So let's talk about sports for a second, since we're talking about it anyways with the whole Winning Time cancellation I'm still pissed off about. Did you hear NFL player Xavier Howard allegedly has 4 women pregnant at the same time?
Vlad, my football knowledge only exists to the extent that I play Madden on PlayStation.
Okay.
I'm not a football guy. I tell people this all the time, and they're like, what? And I know that's blasphemous here in America. Because like Michael Irvin once said, baseball is America's pastime, but football is America's passion. So I know how passionate Americans are about their football, but I'm not a football dude, man.
4 women pregnant at the same time, though. That might be I don't think Nick Cannon's pulled that off.
Well,
or maybe he has, though. I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know if it's a bad thing as long as you can afford it.
Yeah. I mean, you can afford it, but it's not the ideal situation family-wise.
I used to get mad when I would see these documentaries about some of my favorite athletes and entertainment figures. And I think it was like even they'll go, well, we had to fight for everything we had to eat because my mama and daddy had 12 kids. Like, you niggas is broke. Stop fucking. Kids are expensive. Quit fucking. Pull out, right?
Nigga. Pull-out game is just awful.
Jesus.
Just awful.
I think it said, what was it, like 30-something thousand a year to raise it, to take care of a child on average? I forget what the number was.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've had Country Wayne on the show. He has 3 sons and 7 daughters.
Jesus Christ.
10 kids.
Can he afford them?
I mean, now he can, yeah. I mean, now he's doing what? He's got a Netflix special? Everything.
Well, just one Netflix special.
Well, no, plus he's constantly on tour. He's constantly doing shows. He does
now
well. He does well on YouTube. He does well on Facebook. You know, me and him have had an interview and we talked about all this and so forth. Some people like doubted how much he makes and so forth. That became an issue, I think, with Phase On. But ultimately, he does very well. 10 kids. Hey, man, if you could afford him, you could afford him. But I remember I was like, I asked him if he could pull out his own driveway. He said, nope. He said, I'll hit the garbage cans and I can't pull out
the Africans hear that shit. Be like, all right, enough is enough. You got to stop this now.
Well, you actually talked about this. Mayweather versus Crawford. There's a potential fight in the air that it might happen. I mean, it's probably not going to happen.
When I see it.
What do you think will happen if this actually went down?
I give it to Crawford.
Really?
Because I think that he's younger. I would definitely say younger. Offensively, just as skilled. Maybe not defensively, but the fact that he's younger, I think he's as equally as skilled. And I mean, listen, we all know that Floyd been trying to keep that 50-0 record protected. So he ain't been taking the most dangerous fights. No. This is a dangerous fight.
Oh, yeah. No, I saw a breakdown of it. You know, I believe it was on DAZN.com. They said that Crawford's fighting ability and those whiplashing punches might be just enough to have judges credit him on his pressure and volume en route to a point over Mayweather's brand of boxing. So the winner would be Crawford by a close decision.
I agree. I don't see a knockout either way, but I give it to Crawford.
Right. I mean, Mayweather has never even been knocked down. Now, Zab Judah will argue
about this. Kind of rocked him a little bit.
Who?
Zab Judah. He rocked him a little bit.
And, you know, it looked like a, listen, Zab said it's a knockdown. And you could argue that it was a knockdown, but officially in the fight, they said it wasn't a knockdown.
Right.
Sugar Shane Mosley.
Kind of rocked him.
Gave it to him.
Right.
But didn't knock him down. Definitely didn't knock him out.
Right.
Mayweather's a bad motherfucker.
He is. And I think when he was Pretty Boy more so than Team Money, he was even more dazzling. But I don't know, man. A lot of people describe him as boring. You know, he's a defensive guy.
Yeah. No, it's not exciting fights. I mean, you know who was like this was like Pernell Whitaker. Like his fights were like you'd win.
Yeah.
He had a great record.
Lennox Lewis wasn't exciting.
Lennox Lewis was not exciting.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson was.
Well, yeah, that's cocaine with boxing gloves on, nigga.
You said cocaine with
boxing gloves on. Yeah, that's a bull.
You know, it's actually interesting. Michael Jai White actually brought this up, and he told me who it was off camera. I'm not going to say who it is, but in his heyday, Mike had so much money. He was blowing so much money that he bought a famous female that we all know about. He bought her a house.
A famous female we all know about?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Damn.
Just bought her a house.
Can you tell me off the record?
I'll tell you off the record. Yeah, I'll tell you off camera.
Right.
Someone everyone's heard of.
Black or white?
I don't want to say.
All right. You ain't going to give it away by doing that.
Okay, black.
Damn.
I mean, he mostly dated black women. So, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's not Robin Givens.
Oh, I wouldn't think
that wouldn't count.
She took her house.
She took his house, right?
Yeah. She won that fight.
Right. He was undefeated until Robin Givens showed up. But now, like Mike, and what's crazy about Mike's story is I interviewed Alan Dershowitz.
Yeah.
Right, who was actually Mike's lawyer for the appeal of his rape case. And he said that during the whole appeal process, when Mike was locked up, he went broke and he couldn't pay him. And Alan said, no problem, I'll continue to represent you. And then he said that after Mike got out and he got his first fight, he said he paid him back right away.
Right.
But he basically was like, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But to make hundreds of millions of dollars and within a couple of years, you end up dead broke is just wild to me.
Well, when you buy white tigers as house pets, that you're on the track to do that.
I heard a story once that he was gonna have a fight, I think in Vegas, and he bought a brand new Lamborghini.
Right.
And as he was pulling up to the hotel, he ended up like bumping it and like kind of like
giving it away.
Yeah, and he looked at the valley. He's like, "This car's bad luck. Take it." He was with Don King, and Don King was like, "Yo, take it, fool!" Like,
right.
He really just gave it to him.
Did you ever hear the Robin Givens, Tyson, Brad Pitt story?
No.
Robin Givens was sleeping with Brad Pitt
Wait, what?
in Mike's house, and Brad Pitt tells the story, and Mike drives.
So Robin was suicidal, is what you're telling me.
Basically.
Basically.
So she's sleeping with Brad Pitt in Mike's house. Mike pulls up, sees Brad Pitt in the window, and as Brad is leaving, Brad is just begging Mike, please don't punch me in the face. Don't hurt my face. Don't bruise my moneymaker. And he said, Mike just, maybe said a couple words to him, but didn't do shit.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. I read somewhere too that Mike was mad at Michael Jordan too because he had slept with
I heard about this story, but when we interviewed Mike,
he said no.
I brought this up. He goes, "No, that never happened." And Mike is like super honest,
right?
You know what I'm saying? Like Mike literally will like not deny nothing that happened. But that right there, he goes, "No, that never happened."
Wow. Okay.
So that part of the story, because I brought it up. He was like, "No, that never happened."
Okay, because the way that it was told was it was actually him, Jordan, and a bunch of other people hanging out.
Yeah.
And he was giving Jordan dirty looks, and Jordan was intimidated. So I guess it's not true.
I mean, Mike is such like a deity, like with these stories and so forth, that people sometimes create their own and kind of run with it. But listen, Mike, the thing about it, and we talked about this in our interview, was that at the time, Mike was making more money than all his contemporaries, meeting Hollywood actors and other sports stars and so forth. He was just bringing in bigger paychecks. So he was richer than everybody. So he would like just floss more than everybody.
Right.
And I mean, listen, man, shout out to Mike, one of the realest.
And that's what I've always loved about him is his honesty.
Yeah.
He always wore his truth and his heart on his sleeve. So, I love that dude, man.
We just interviewed Dominique Wilkins.
Yeah.
Would you say this is the most underrated NBA player ever?
Yeah. One of the most, yeah. And I don't think that's to any fault of his own. He just was on a bad team.
And he was going up against Jordan all the time.
Okay, and I think, listen, if he had a 1-2 punch a la Kobe Shaq, Jordan Pippen, I still don't know that he gets past the Bulls, but I think he at least has a shot. And certainly within that window, when Mike went to go play baseball, he would have had a shot.
Yeah.
But he was a one-man wrecking crew.
Yeah.
You're
right. I mean, listen, the Atlanta has unfortunately never been that great of a team.
Yeah.
The last time they won a championship was, I think, before I was born.
I never even knew they won a championship.
Let me see. It was like, hold on. 1958.
Woo! Was niggas playing then?
I don't know, man. 58.
Basic bounce passes, chest passes, and dribbling the ball.
Free throws under the legs.
Yeah. I don't think there was no style in the game yet.
Socks up to your kneecaps.
There you go. Whole black and white footage.
1958.
Wow.
They weren't even the Atlanta Hawks back then. They were like some other city's Hawks at that point. Yeah, man. I mean, still to this day, it was like I was at Boosie's house. He had like a whole basketball court with half of it was Atlanta Hawks, half of it was Golden State. I'm like, when's the last time Hawks won a championship? I don't care, man. They love me these games.
In that mid 80s to early 90s, Dominique was Atlanta when he had the flat top perm. Oh, he was Atlanta,
flat top perm.
Flat top perm, baby. The box cut curl.
Yeah, but it's like whenever, because he had like an incredible amounts of scoring and so forth. But every time that he would be up to like, whoever got the most, Jordan would always like up him by like a few points.
But pizzazz for pizzazz, dunk for dunk, Dominique was that dude, man.
Did you ever see like the one-on-one where they were playing under the St. Louis Arch? It was like they were just, it was Dominique and Jordan were playing one-on-one.
Really?
Under the St. Louis Arch with just a crowd of fans.
Right.
And Dominique actually nutmegs Jordan.
Really?
He passed the ball under Jordan's legs.
I saw that. I did see that.
And then dunked on him.
Yes. Yeah, man.
Yeah. What do you think about the whole, the fact that Jordan and Pippen just do not get along these days.
You know, it's unfortunate because, you know, the two of them arguably were probably the greatest duo in sports. In basketball. Right up there with Shaq and Kobe.
Yeah.
You could make that argument.
Yeah.
And, you know, it just felt like all of this was because, you know, there's some bitterness on Scotty's part, you know?
I mean, Dominique said there could only be one king.
Well, you know, Dominique said, you know, Pippen doesn't win those rings without Jordan. And this is the thing that makes my fucking skin curl. And when this happens, I got to take a minute. To you stupid motherfuckers, stop making that dumb moot point that, well, Michael didn't win without Scotty. Duh, they couldn't win without each other. It's a team sport.
Well,
no superstar wins alone.
Right.
That's a moot point.
You could also argue, though, that Jordan could have gotten rings without Scotty, but Scotty definitely could not have gotten any rings
piece
without
was
Jordan.
interchangeable.
Yeah.
You put Dominique along with Mike, I see rings.
Exactly.
You put, you know...
You put Dominique with Scottie Pippen and you may not see any rings. Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. Yeah.
And it's like, you know, it's like, and again, if you paid attention to The Last Dance, Scotty himself said, Michael took me under the wing. He made me become the alpha dog. Jordan from the gate was always alpha dog.
Yeah.
Pip was a pup. Mike put the in that motherfucker. And on top of that, it's like, look, people go, well, did Michael win until Pippen and Horace Grant? No, but he took a bum Bulls team and he lost against the then championship Celtics with 5 Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
Mikhail Bird, Parrish, Dennis Johnson, and Bill Walton. And it was the game where Jordan scored 63, where Larry Bird famously said, he's God disguised as Michael. Mm. And the Celtics only lost 2 games all season at home. And Mike had no help. So imagine if he had some help. Knock it off. God damn, boy, you bronzexuals be killing me.
Bronzexuals? I actually brought up the
You know, they say, let me ask you this. They go, Michael couldn't have taken a bum Cavs team to the finals the way LeBron did.
That's
now
a good
keep
point.
in mind,
That's a good point.
No, it's not a good point, because keep in mind what I just said. Mike took a coke-infested bum Bulls team and he lost in the second round or in the first round, second game, or whatever the fuck it was, to the Celtics. 5 Hall of Famers, then champions. You don't think Mike could have took that Cavs team to the finals in a conference that wasn't as strong when Mike was in the... That's why they called it the Leaston Conference. When LeBron was in the East, it was at its weakest. When Jordan was in the East, it was at its strongest.
Yeah,
the defense, the physicality, the Knicks, the Cavs, the Pistons, the Pacers. The fuck out of here, man.
Well, no, I remember I asked Dominique, I said, do you regret never winning a ring? He goes, well, not really, because back then the Eastern Conference was a motherfucker.
A monster.
A monster. It was like you could have a great team and all the pieces are put together. One person gets injured and suddenly there goes your hopes. Right.
And here's the thing. A lot of motherfuckers ate on LeBron's watch. Who ate on Mike's watch? Once he started winning from 91 to 98 and with a 2-year hiatus for baseball, he allowed motherfuckers to eat.
You know, Dennis Rodman, during our interview, he said that Larry Bird, if he was playing today, he'd be playing for Europe.
If Larry Bird played in this era, I think he'd be in Europe. So I'm just letting you know, man. Really, you know, like I said, don't just say he'd be somewhere over there. Because, you know, his game was fit for Boston at that time in the 80s and stuff like that, you know. But today's world, oh, hell no. There's no way. I'm not downplaying him because he's a great player at that time, just like I was. And but I'm saying, no, there's no way. No way.
And when I brought this up to Dominique Wilkins, he said that he's crazy to even say that.
You know, I respect Dennis. A lot of respect Dennis. Know Dennis well. He's a good dude. But that's delusional. Delusional. Larry Bird could play in any era and do the same thing he did in our era. It couldn't handle him. Today's players could not handle him. Period.
That's like when he said that shit back when the Pistons was playing the
Celtics. Yeah, I actually
And
brought
he
that
said
up.
that thing
And
about Larry.
He even said,
Come
well,
on.
I didn't really, he said I was young and just talking my shit.
Well, he's old and he's still talking his shit. He's still just as stupid.
I mean, how come people really don't give Larry Bird his...
No, people do. He doesn't. People do. You know, I remember I was watching this great documentary on HBO called Courtship of Rivals about Bird and Magic.
Yeah, I watched that.
Yeah, and I know I'm gonna get my man's name wrong. The jazz guy. I don't. It's not Herbie Hancock, but it was a jazz guy. And he said something about, you know, when you go into a black barbershop, black people talked about Larry Bird. You know, when you go into most black people's homes, on their posters on their wall were like, you know, Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, a picture of Jesus, and then Larry Bird. He goes, when you're in black people's homes, you're the real deal. Larry was the real fucking deal. Knock it off. And to those people who go, Larry Bird couldn't play in today's era. Larry Bird is a better player than Luka Doncic. And Luka's killing. You telling me Bird wouldn't dominate?
Yeah.
He's a better player than Luka Doncic.
Right. And he would get in your head.
Come on, man.
And like his, well, Bird had that killer instinct that you just don't see in sports all the time. He had it.
And that's what I loved about, and we forgot to mention that on Winning Time. The way they talked, how they showcase how he went to go play in jeans and said, this actually happened.
Yeah.
Give me the ball. Bird was a shit talker.
Oh, yeah.
He was a nigga from French Lick.
From French Lick, he was. That's exactly where he was from.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Dominique, like he said that, what did he say? He said the first time he played Larry Bird, he goes to shake his hand, and Larry Bird just looked at him, put his hands behind his back, and walked away.
Yeah.
And then like the first time Bird scored on him, it's like, yeah, we can do this all day, Holmes.
Yeah.
Like, Holmes?
Yeah, man.
Holmes?
They said Larry Bird felt disrespected when the opposing coach put a white guy on him. He felt it was a sign of disrespect. Come on, man. Come on, man.
Well, did you hear about Dennis Rodman? Remember,
I want you to get to Michael Blackson.
Michael Blackson?
Yes.
We'll talk about him.
All right.
You want to talk about him now?
Let's go. I'm curious.
So I had Michael Blackson here last time. Okay? He was here a couple weeks ago. When you were on here last time, we were talking about Dubai.
Yes.
Right? And I was telling you how hot it was in Dubai.
Yes.
And what did you say you would do if you went to Dubai?
Use Michael Blackson as an umbrella.
So, when Michael Blackson was here, I said, hey, Aries made a comment about you. He goes, really? What did he say? So I played it for him. So let's go ahead and play it real quick. Hold on 1 second.
I hope he handled this like a comedian.
Well, I had Aries Spears on my show recently. And we were talking about Dubai. I had just gotten back from Dubai, and I was telling him how hot it was. I was saying like the ocean was actually hotter than the air. Like it was like 90 degrees in the ocean. It was like unbelievably hot. And he said if he ever goes to Dubai, he would use Michael Blackson as his umbrella.
And I'm going to use this fat as my blanket, motherfucker.
Touche.
Touche.
I'm not mad. You know, the fact that he laughed at it and the fact that he said what he said and I'm laughing at it, that's how comedy is supposed to be. It ain't supposed to be on no Tupac Biggie shit, no rival. It's joke for joke, ball busting for ball busting. Hey, Mike, attaboy.
He actually laughs it off.
He's
He
supposed
did not
to.
take it personally.
No.
And he hit you with a little jab right back.
I'm not going to take it
So you
personally.
use your fat ass as a blanket.
Yes. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, he'll protect me. I'll kill him.
I mean, we talked about the whole thing with Michael Blackson about some of the various so-called beefs, you know, and little moments that he had. Him and Cat Williams were going at it at one point.
Mm-hmm.
And Cat Williams basically was upset over Michael Blackson making a joke about, you know, asking whether MLK had a white side chick.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel that's over the top, or do you feel that's just comedy?
As within a joke context?
Yes.
Listen, comedically, man, I stand true to this badge, man. I uphold this oath called humor. I'm never going to denounce an attempt to be funny, even if it fails. I'm never going to denounce an attempt to be funny because that's what it's about, the attempt. You want to succeed, but you can't succeed without the attempt. So, I do a joke right now where I talk about Dr. King having side pussy. And I say, prior to the joke, I say something else, and then I end it with, come on, black people. I'm looking in the crowd, and I see a lot of disapproving head nods, especially for black people. That ain't right. And I go, come on, black people, let's not lie to each other. It's on record. It's a fact. Dr. King had side pussy.
Yeah, he did.
Okay? And I say I don't fault him for that.
Right.
He did what most powerful men do when placed in a position where temptation meets opportunity. He took advantage of it.
Right. I think the FBI were like tapping his phones,
Yeah.
and then they released it later on where he had conversations with
Well,
side
I'm gonna
chicks.
tell you, that lady Greta gave some mean head, nigga. When she went down on me and cut my nuts. It felt so good, I just kept thinking, God almighty, I hope Coretta don't find out. Let me, man, and this is a true story. I was walking through Atlanta airport, and that's where Dr. King is from. I didn't notice at first, but later I found out. But it made sense because they had a shrine in the airport where they had a dedication to him, and they had a bunch of Dr. King memorabilia, old black and white photos. And in one of the photos, he was sitting in a chair smoking a cigarette, talking to a reporter. It fucked me up because I never knew Dr. King smoked cigarettes. That's never the image we were shown. So I went between the cigarettes, the side pussy, and the fact that I believe I saw a documentary where they had recordings of him with his inner circle, and a couple times he said the N-word. I said, oh my God, Dr. King was a regular dude like everybody else. Can you imagine him in a hotel get his dick sucked while he's smoking a cigarette? Now, anime, skis, I need you to hurry up. I got to get back to the movement in Montgomery. Niggas is waiting on me. And then he ashes on her. And she goes, Dr. King, you done asked in my eye. Oh, I'm sorry, bitch. So, it's jokes.
Jokes. Speaking of Montgomery, the
Yes,
Montgomery Brawl.
Oh, yeah.
Great moment in U.S. history.
Great moment in black history.
Black history.
Yeah, I love to see all my brothers come together. I wish we acted like that more with each other in times of despair.
They
Coming out,
actually made a
niggas
song.
came out the sky, came out the waters, came out of manhole covers.
Someone had done a Photoshop where it showed dudes like coming through like portals. Like
Beautiful. Beautiful.
like in Mortal Kombat. Like just
Yeah.
showing up.
Avengers! Assemble. I loved it.
I remember there was a song that someone wrote about it. And one of the lyrics was, shout out to the first black man who swam to a fight.
Hey, it's funny. It's funny. I saw somebody cut together the opening theme from Good Times and spliced it with the footage with lyrics. It was great. It was great. I loved it.
I mean, what was it? Whoopi Goldberg, didn't she have like a metal chair, like a folding chair necklace when she did The View?
Oh,
or
I
something
didn't
like
see that.
Yeah.
I didn't see that. Oh, did she? Oh, yeah.
I think the coolest part about that was that in a place like Montgomery, where that probably 2/3 of people had carry permits on them,
Right.
nobody pulled out a gun.
I think Dr. King was looking down from heaven and said, I want you niggas to protect that nigga there. But whatever you do, don't shoot nobody. Make it a non-violent ass kicking. And look at the nigga swimming in the waters. Come on, this is a glorious moment. All right, let me stop.
What was it? Michael Blackson, when I talked to him about this, he goes, that was great because, black people can't swim. Imagine if they drowned, like when he jumped in to go to the fight. Like, oh yeah, someone actually made a song called Montgomery Brawl, and there was a line in there that says, shout out to the first black man who swam to a fight.
Oh my God. That
Think
guy.
about it. You've never seen a black person swim to a fight before
First of all,
until the Montgomery
Man,
Brawl.
first of all, black people don't even swim. So that alone, what's America? He probably learned to swim that day.
That day,
motherfucker.
he jumped in and just figured it out.
Figure it out, man. I gotta help my people. It been fucked that he'd have jumped that water and drowned, motherfucker.
I know, that would have been awful. But what I'm saying though, but nobody pulled out a gun. Like the white people that were getting their ass kicked, nobody
Right.
pulled out a gun.
It was beautiful, man.
I mean, no one even pulled out a gun and shot in the air.
It's the best ending you could ask for.
Right, because here's the thing. At this point, everyone's all healed up and they're going on with their lives. A couple people got arrested and probably charged with misdemeanors and some little bullshit. No one's doing any real prison time.
Some white guys deservedly got their ass kicked and niggas lived.
I mean, the white guy started it.
And the black folks finished it.
What about the bat signal with the hat?
Oh, is that somebody? Oh, I saw that.
Remember he
Right.
threw it up?
I should have been a do-rag.
Well, you know, in the Michael Blackson interview, he talked about he had issues with Kevin Hart. And the reason, you know, when they finally talked it out, Kevin felt that Michael was doing too much in terms of joking about his whole cheating situation.
You know, I think where the lines got blurred was through a text, through Instagram, social media, Twitter, right?
Yeah.
Where, you know, and I learned this the hard way. Sometimes comedy is not translated on Instagram and Twitter and social media the way it is on stage. Number one, it's a mindset. When you're on stage and then there's an audience there, they know that's what that is. Now, it's still subjective in terms of whether or not you like it, dislike it, offended, not offended, but you know what it is in that context. To try to relay a joke through a social media post, I think that gets lost in translation, and it doesn't translate, and people may fail to see where the joke was.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it was obviously a bad time for Kevin Hart, but I mean,
Why was it a bad time for Kevin Hart?
Well, the whole cheating part.
Oh, right.
Remember, there was like that video, and then supposedly one of his like friends tried to blackmail him and so forth. But then he went and did a tour talking. I don't
know if you ever saw this clip, but it was a great clip, and it was so brilliant on the part of Charlemagne the God. But Charlemagne was interviewing Kevin, and Kevin was talking about how much he loves his wife, and she says everything, his backbone, his rib. And Charlemagne said, "What kind of side you like with your rib?" And even Kevin was so caught off guard that he laughed and went, "That's funny, but fuck you, Charlemagne. I can say some shit about you." It was a great, honest moment.
Yeah. You know, me and Michael also talked about the whole Will Smith, Chris Rock slapping situation.
Mm-hmm.
And Michael, actually, let me play it for you. Because it was actually like one of these like dope moments. Let me see. Okay, let me ask you a question. If you were hosting and Will Smith smacked you, what would you do?
Oh, man. Let me see. I probably would have blacked out on purpose, right? And then when the cops came and woke me up like, "Mike, what do you see?" I'm saying, "I see a bag of money."
You would have just fell out?
Oh, man, I see a bag of money. I mean, Will Smith, I'm suing you. I'm suing the Oscars. I'm suing everybody.
The security company.
The people that laughed at me.
Will Packer.
Let me tell you something.
For doing the movie. Yeah, everyone.
Will Smith would have been so broke that he would have had to move back with his auntie and uncle in Bel Air. That's how broke this motherfucker was going to be.
Back to Bel Air.
Back to Bel Air. Back to living with, he'd be roommates with Carlton.
What would you have done if Will Smith smacked you?
Oh, can't you just feel it, Vlad? Can't you just hear it? Can't you just read it? I don't even have to answer that. The comments in the comment section will speak for themselves.
Actually, I didn't even think about what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. I didn't actually think of this. This wasn't a setup.
I got you.
I can see how it's being played.
Right.
But it was not a setup.
You're giving all these niggas a chance to get their little dicks hard. The 5150 crew. They jacking off to this. Like they always do in Corey Mouth. 5150.
By the way, Corey Holcomb is a liar. Just so you know, because he's been running with this whole thing about how when me and him first talked, when I reached out to him to do an interview, and he was like, "Okay, can you do my show too?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no problem." But then he was like, he tried to switch the story up about how I wouldn't do his show and some other bullshit. Corey just like makes up shit and just runs with it. You know, or when I try to get you guys together to do like a whole like sit down, and I offered to pay him, and he's like, "Oh, how are you gonna pay me?" And it was like, no, he wanted to get paid. He just wanted to do a revenue split. And I just told him we aren't set up for that, but we're willing to pay you whatever you feel is fair. And he was like, oh, and he switches up the whole story. So really, Corey Holcomb is really on some bullshit when it comes to the way he presents shit. It's really just not true. You know what I mean? I don't think me and him will ever talk, we'll ever meet up or anything else like that. But I'm just saying, I don't fuck with Corey Holcomb because really he just lies a lot. Yeah, I'm sure he's going to see this and make a whole show about this. And I don't really give a shit.
I don't even want to address. I don't want to waste no energy on that at all.
There you go. Well, according to Leslie Jones, Chris Rock actually had to go to therapy.
He had to go to therapy?
Yeah, Leslie Jones said this.
Really?
Yeah. But then again, therapy's not that big of a deal. I've been a therapist.
It is to black people.
Really?
Yeah, because therapy with us is usually over our Nana's house over a banana pudding. some other type of black delicacy that we eat. That's where we have our therapy.
Okay.
Not a lot of black people invest in actually therapy, which I think they should.
They should.
Yeah.
Everyone should.
I've done it a couple times.
Therapy's helped me out, man. I was in a real dark place at one point, and my therapist helped me out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something happened with you where you made a joke about some Indian people, and there's a whole backlash over it. So tell me what exactly the joke was, because I couldn't find it.
No, it was from, I told you I have a videographer that comes out with me and is shooting me do crowd work. Mm-hmm. So I did a section of crowd work where I asked an Indian guy his name. And based on what he told me, I made a joke about it. And it was just that. I just made a joke about his name.
What was his name? Do you remember?
I think it was Patreet or something. Patreet.
Okay.
And I said, God, man, and this is a kind of a joke I've done before. I said, your name sound like a dick disease. Dad, my nuts itching. Nigga, you got Patreet. So that was it, the gist of it. And I mean the whole, and my boy, big shout out, Russell Peters, came to my rescue and was like, look, I know Aries, he's a stand-up dude, cool guy. Get the fuck over it.
Right. Russell Peters is Indian, for those that don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
And again, if I had done this on an Instagram post or a Twitter post, that might have got lost in translation. But clearly when you see the clip, I'm on stage at the Improv in Houston. So, yeah, lighten up, motherfuckers. It's a joke. But what was so amazing was I got called a racist, but then with all the comments, I got called all kind of niggas and apes and monkeys and other racial epithets under the sun, man.
And this was Indian people calling
Indian people, yeah. A lot of Indian dudes. Mad as a motherfucker.
But Indian people are generally about as dark as black people. So they're...
One of my first jokes ever was, I said, I remember the first time I growing up in New York, the first time I ever saw an Indian, I was 15 years old. I was like, dude, I don't know what to make of you. You got nigga skin, but white people hair. The fuck are you? So to that's a lot of what the comments were like, dude, they're as dark as us.
Yeah.
So, they're as black as us, but they got white people hair. So that's why I was confused.
Right. And they were calling you all types of racist, everything, all in your DMs.
Yeah.
You ever if it's a real Instagram account, do you ever just want to put those people on blast? 'Cause I remember, Gary Owen said that there was some dude, like some white guy sent him all this racist shit. And he actually posted up the message on his Instagram. The guy ended up getting fired from his job. Do you ever do that to people who DM you?
I think I've gotten a lot better. Well, what's really happened is, and I think I mentioned this here, Warren Buffett has a quote that I like. If you can't control your emotions, you can't control your money.
True.
So I've heavily started putting things in place to where I can monetize off TikTok, off Instagram, on my social media. And the first clip that I aired with my videographer, 25.1 million views on Instagram. On TikTok, 15 million views.
Wow. Okay.
So I'm in a position where if I do this right, I could start, getting some bread. So I'm controlling my emotions, because before this, when motherfuckers would talk shit, I was fucking Scarface balcony scene. I'm shooting 1,000 Colombians. Fuck with me, I'm the best, man. I would go at motherfuckers. And I'm just going, it just doesn't make sense. Because if all it's going to do is possibly get your account suspended, because the weak will report you when they lose the battle of words with you, which they're not equipped to fight with me anyway. So as far as the battle of words and the mind game and the wit game, you're not going to beat me at that. So once you expose them, then they report you. And if my account is suspended, now I can't make money.
Yeah, shout out to Boosie, who's always getting his account suspended. Just got suspended again. He had 834 Instagram accounts last I checked. It's crazy.
Yeah, I just, there's no money in that.
Yeah.
There's no money in cancellation. The money is in monetization. So it's best to just bite your tongue and ignore it.
Yep. Well, Lizzo, someone who you have an interesting history with in terms of speaking about her.
We have a history.
Oh, yes, you do.
No, we don't have a history.
Well, you said things about her. You called her.
And
you said she looks like the shit emoji.
And she replied, not directly, but indirectly.
Yes.
She never said my name.
Right.
But wink, wink, we know what it was.
Right.
And then after that, it was over.
It was over. But now, since our last interview, she's now being sued by an army of backup dancers. You got a kick out of this.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is
Hov. Okay, so when you find out about this, what'd you think?
I just, I even sent a post out where I spliced together. Half the screen was the report with her picture, and the other half was me just sitting back, not saying a word, smoking on a cigarette with the Jay-Z public service announcement playing in the background.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, but what do you actually think about the situation? Do you think it's bullshit, or do you think there's actually
I don't know.
some credence?
I don't know. An allegation is an allegation until it's proven. So for right now, it's just allegations.
There's apparently a lawsuit. I mean, listen, as an employer,
You can sue anybody.
You can sue anyone for anything.
Yeah.
And in the legal system these days, you could have a lawyer that'll essentially take a percentage of your winnings. So you basically don't even have to pay for a lawyer.
Yeah.
It's a free lawsuit for you. Now, the other person has to protect themselves. The other person has to pay sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars. But yeah, you can sue anyone for anything. And I mean, look, you're a backup dancer. It didn't work out. You don't have a job anymore. I'm going to sue her. Get some money out of it. I don't know whether it was a toxic environment, but look, when you're doing a major show of the caliber of a Lizzo, I mean, things move quickly. Things get heated. And sometimes people aren't as nice as they should be or as polite as they should be. But I don't know. I kind of feel sorry for her in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, listen, man, when you become a big enough person, targets get put on you.
Yeah.
And everybody's out to get the bag. So again, until we know what's concrete and what's not, it's all speculation, man.
Mm-hmm.
I wish the girl well.
Yeah, me too.
I'm
a fan of her music.
None but love. I ain't a fan of the music, but none
You're
but
not
love.
a fan of the music? You don't like any Lizzo songs? Come on. Really?
I am a straight heterosexual black male from New York City. Stop.
Right. But you can't appreciate certain songs even though they're not in your demographic?
Which one would I appreciate?
Lizzo songs?
Yeah, which one?
Let's see. Let's look up her biggest song.
You don't even have to, because I can tell you none. I come from
About Damn Time, Truth Hurts, Good as Hell. These are good songs, man. Truth Hurts is almost at 1 billion views right now.
I don't give a fuck if it had 1 trillion, nigga. I don't go with what's popular just because it's popular. I go with what I like.
She's talented.
I never said she wasn't.
She's talented.
Never said she wasn't.
I like her music, man. And, and listen, I like Taylor Swift music. I'm not in her demographic. I'm not going to go to her concert, but there's certain songs that I think are good songs. As a music lover, like a lifetime music lover, I have to, I really try to embrace all types of genres, even if it's not like my preferred music. Yes, I listen to hip hop most of the time. But...
You're a Russian in America. You love democracy.
Speaking of music, people, Kanye West was getting head in a boat in
Is
Venice.
there any other way to get head?
Apparently not. Had his whole ass out.
I didn't know about that part.
Oh, you didn't see? Like his whole ass was like visible.
Didn't he get in trouble for lewd?
Yeah, he did. He's actually banned. See, here's the thing is, it's not like he was on like a mega yacht in the middle of the ocean. No, this was in Venice where like the rivers are like almost like highways.
Yeah.
So you get into these little boats. It's basically like a taxi boat.
Yeah.
You get into there to get to like the other side of town or whatever else because it's too far to walk and so forth. So he's on a public taxi boat getting head from his wife, and you could see his whole ass crack just hanging out. Like it was something I didn't want to see Kanye's ass crack. This was something I was hoping I would never get to see. But unfortunately, here we are right now.
God, I want to be that rich.
You want to be that rich? When you get head in the boat?
Ass out in Venice, getting head on the waves.
You know, the funniest thing that I heard was, because, Kim was dating Pete Davidson. And Kanye said, "Oh, really? I'm going to get Pete Davidson with titties."
A girl that looks like Pete Davidson, but
titties. His so-called wife.
That's weird.
You want to show you a picture?
Yeah, I've seen her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you look at her in the face, she kind of looks like Pete Davidson.
She's a little bit better than Pete Davidson.
Well, yes, because she's a female. But I'm saying, I'm just saying, they could be
Pete Davidson always looks like he just got done doing drugs.
Apparently, he actually was doing drugs while he was dating Kim.
Really?
He was on what was it that K? What do you call it? The special K? Ketamine. Yeah, there we go. Horse tranquilizer.
Wow.
It's actually kind of interesting because when I was interviewing Charlemagne, he was telling me about a phone call, this angry phone call he got from Kanye. and he was talking about Pete Davidson, and Charlamagne and Pete Davidson are actually like good friends. And he was like, yo, you know, Kim Kardashian is like Marilyn Monroe. She's the modern day Marilyn Monroe, and she died of drugs, and Pete Davidson does drugs, and, you know, we got to protect her, and so forth. And everyone kind of laughed at him a little bit. And then you find out that actually during the time, Pete Davidson was actually taking drugs because he actually admitted himself during that time.
You calling me, you know, trying to get me on Team Ye, saying you want to save the new Marilyn Monroe. We got to save the new Marilyn Monroe.
Yo, that's what he was saying about Kim?
Yeah, that's the, you know how Marilyn Monroe died, right? Which I did not know, and I don't even know if this is true. But Marilyn Monroe died, you know, because of drugs, and you know Pete has drug problems, and we gotta save the new Marilyn Monroe from being addicted to drugs and you know dying.
So, yeah, Kanye's not as crazy as people always make him out to be, but
well, I'm still stuck on Kim K as the modern day Marilyn Monroe.
I know, right?
That's a drug comment in and of itself.
Yeah, I don't see that one. I definitely don't see that one. But I feel like Kanye has like, I don't know, man, he's just lost it. Like he walks around with no shoes on anymore. He just walks around barefoot everywhere.
On the concrete?
Yes, like in the street. You know, he's got these, I mean, his outfits have gotten more and more crazy. He's gained a lot of weight. And he's got this girl basically naked everywhere he goes.
Yeah, listen, I can't speak from experience because I don't know what that is yet. But I'm almost convinced that when you get to absurd amounts of money, it either makes you or breaks you. You know, it's something in them dollars, man.
Yeah.
And that level of status that can fuck with you.
Yes, but you do see a lot of people way richer than Kanye that seem totally fine.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Jeff Bezos is fine. I mean, Elon Musk is a
but,
little crazy,
but artists always have that artist label that they can fall back on in terms of that being able to validate a little bit of their nonsense. Oh, well, they're an artist.
Well, yeah.
They're a free spirit.
I remember reading this really interesting breakdown of what you're talking about. And basically what they said was, when it comes to mental illness, people love, for example, like when Kanye makes an album and it's so creative and it's so outside the box and oh my God, he's a genius and everything. But they don't like when he goes on the Hitler rants or when he cancels his tour and, you know, goes off on these fucked up tangents. But it's all the same thing. It's all part of the same mental illness.
Right.
So you can't really love one and denounce the other because it's all kind of the same thing. Someone who is really like a little messed up in the head, who's creating great art, probably has a bunch of chaos at home and a bunch of, you know, that you may not always get to see. Now with Kanye, you always get to see it because he's so out there with it. But I'm saying like, you know, I mean, think about the home life of some of these so-called geniuses. It's right. Usually very chaotic.
But I think sometimes people automatically want to connect the genius to crazy. Like the two have to coexist. And I don't think that's always the case. I think you could be an absolute genius and not have an ounce of lunatic in you at all.
Look at Jay-Z. Jay-Z seems perfectly lucid,
the only
perfectly
thing Jay-Z
intelligent.
has done that's crazy to me is kept that Raid Roach haircut.
The Rave Roach
haircut.
Raid
Roach haircut.
The Raid Roach haircut. You mean the dreads?
Yes.
I kind of like the dreads. You don't like them? He's doing it's like a Basquiat thing that he's doing.
I don't like Basquiat.
Nah?
Yeah.
I like his art.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I like when Jay had his shit brush cut, you know. This shit here just looks outrageous.
Well, I mean, you know, one of us is married to Beyonce and the other one is not, so clearly someone likes it. You know what I mean? So,
all right, well.
You said something interesting. I was listening to the No Jumper interview, and you said that one of the things that people always criticize whenever you do an interview with me is that
you talk over your guests.
I talk over my guests.
Yes.
Which I just did.
Not as aggressively as you normally do.
I don't know. I personally feel that's kind of like the Vlad thing, though, in a way. I feel like that's why people kind of gravitate towards.
No. If you read the comments, no.
No,
that's one of the things they don't like.
Really?
Yes. Let me ask you something. I want you to be completely honest, man.
Let's do it.
Would you consider yourself even a little bit narcissistic?
Yes.
Okay. See, the fact that you would even admit that is a hat tip.
No hesitation at all.
Okay.
Did you hear that?
Yeah. So that's part of where that comes from.
Yeah. I'm a narcissist to a certain degree.
Okay.
Yeah.
At least you admitted it.
I've been called that before in my personal life. Like,
Right.
yeah, of course. I think everyone has to be a narcissist
To a degree.
to do what it is that we do. Like think about it. Like, just think about this. You are a totally unknown person. A totally unknown person in your teens or your 20s or whatever else. And you're saying to yourself, I'm going to have millions of people listen to what I got to say. And they're going to tune in every day. And I'm going to make all this money because of my personality. Millions, if not billions. Like VladTV has billions of views now with a B. You have to be a little narcissistic and delusional to actually think you're going to pull that off. And then you actually do.
Or can you not be humble and confident? There was nothing narcissistic about Muhammad Ali, but he called himself the greatest.
I think Muhammad Ali was definitely narcissistic.
No, I don't.
I
think he was confident.
Absolutely.
I think he was confident, and I think he was humble.
I
This is
think
a man who
you can interchange narcissism.
No, you can't. This is a man who once said, in terms of, you treat the janitor the same way you treat the CEO of a Fortune 500 company.
Okay.
This is a man who went to Africa and, Ali, Boombaye, and those people felt him and loved him, and he was revered there, and he gave it to him right back.
Mm-hmm.
This was a man who came up in a time where black people were made, especially black men, were made to feel like they weren't shit, and that their skin color wasn't as noble or as worthy as somebody else who was white. So he allowed all of us to pin our shoulders back, put our chests up, stick our chins out, and go, I'm black and I'm beautiful.
Being a narcissist doesn't mean you're not a nice person to other people. You can be a narcissist and be very kind.
Give me an example of what made Ali narcissistic. Because he believed in himself? Because he quoted himself as being the greatest? What was he supposed to say? I am the worst.
He could say, hey, I think I'm good at what I do.
And
I'm hoping other people...
You just lost tickets to your fight. Nobody's paying for that.
I mean, listen, fighters are constantly
Listen,
doing gimmick. Listen, look.
Before Ali,
Go ahead.
there was no fighter that was as brash and as confident as him. Matter of fact, most boxers, black, had to pretty much stay in their place. I'm Joe Louis. Come see me fight at Madison Square Garden. It's gonna be good. And I'll take that back a little bit. The one before him, truly the first arrogant nigga, was Jack Johnson. This nigga beat the shit out of white men for 47 rounds and then drove home and fucked the white bitch. In the open. Even Ali said, I thought I was crazy. That nigga's crazy. But the gap between Jack Johnson and Muhammad Ali, a lot of niggas was killed and hung. And again, Ali came up in a time where black men were made to feel less than. So here's our black iconic superhero going, I'm the greatest, which meant a whole lot of black men could go, we are the greatest. We, because of him.
Okay, but this is the same guy that called George Foreman a gorilla and actually did like press conferences where he would like box.
It wasn't George
gorilla.
Foreman, it was Joe Frazier.
Joe Frazier.
Yeah.
Foreman. George Foreman. The Rumble in the Jungle was Foreman.
Yes, but he called Joe Frazier the gorilla. I'm gonna fight the gorilla and the Manila.
You're right. No, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. No, my bad. You're right.
And he had the little doll that he would, the little gorilla doll that he punched.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was foul.
That
was foul.
No, listen, but you're thinking as a white guy trying to be protective of us. I'm telling you, he didn't mean it that way. Ali was a rhymester.
Joe Frazier took it that way.
Well,
Joe Frazier hated Muhammad Ali to his dying day.
Joe Frazier took it that way because Joe Frazier wasn't a good-looking guy, and he knew that. And he knew
being good looking or bad looking does not mean demean someone. Calling them an
This
animal,
is what I yelled to you.
Especially a monkey.
This is what I yelled to you before about you thinking you know your black people better than us. I'm trying to give you a history lesson. Fall back. Okay. I'm telling you right now, Ali didn't mean it in a demeaning way to call another black man an ape. He was simply doing it because gorilla, when he said, it's going to be a thriller and a chiller when I get to gorilla in Manila. Ali was always about showmanship. He was always about poetry, and that rhymed. Deep down inside, and Joe Frazier knew, he even said in a couple interviews, I'm not as pretty as Ali. I'm not as articulate, well-spoken. I'm not a showman like that. Ali was a fucking model. He was a good-looking dude who could whoop your ass. Joe Frazier didn't come from that. He came from sharecroppers. So for him, there was a little bit of an insecurity where he went, damn, this nigga's calling me ugly. And I know I don't look as good as him. I'm not embraced like him.
Okay, look.
That's what that's about.
I watched a documentary about this.
I've seen them all.
And after the fight, Ali apologized to Frazier. He actually apologized to Frazier's son, I believe, and said, hey, listen, tell your dad that I didn't mean all the things that I said. I was just trying to get in his head, and I was trying to win the fight.
Say that part again.
I was trying to get in his head.
Before that, say what you just said.
And I was trying to win the fight.
I was trying to win the fight,
yes.
And I was trying to get in his head. Yes. It wasn't about trying to demean another black man like a white dude calling a black man a gorilla. He wasn't coming from that. He was coming from, I was trying to get in his head. I was trying to get the one up on him mentally. I was trying to sell a fight.
Okay.
I'm a showman.
Yes. Think about when this was happening. Think about how race relations were in America during that time. You don't think that white people love that type of shit? Racist white people, like, gravitated towards these type of comments and probably use those comments at home.
We're not at that time anymore now, and they still love it.
Yeah. So
don't do that.
And you don't think that Muhammad Ali realized that white people would run with this? Because remember, this is the same Muhammad Ali. This is the same Muhammad Ali that went to a Klan rally. Remember that whole part of the story?
Yes.
And said, I agree with y'all. Y'all stay over here, we'll stay over there.
Right.
And then I think at the end, they were like, as he was leaving, he's like, oh, go get a rope. He's like, oh, I'm just kidding, champ. You can go home. But it was like...
And if he wasn't famous, he wouldn't have been able to go home.
He wouldn't have been able to go home. But the fact that, like, listen, I respect Muhammad Ali, but there are certain things that I'm not cool with.
Hey,
going to a Klan rally, I'm not cool with. Me being Jewish, I don't fuck with the Klan. Yeah, I would not go to a Klan rally.
The difference is, unless you show up at the Klan rally with a yarmulke on and some fucking Hasidic curls, you can blend in. Ali can't.
I can't blend in because people know that I'm Jewish. I'm a public figure.
How would they know?
Because they know that Vlad is Jewish.
No.
I'm a public figure.
If you as a white man, what?
He did not come in as a random black guy.
You don't see the difference between black and white.
Guy did not show up to the Klan rally.
You don't see the difference between black and white? You can blend in. No one knows you're Jewish unless you say it.
Listen, Muhammad Ali did not show up to a Klan rally as a random black guy. He showed up as Muhammad Ali. They're like, everyone, we're introducing the champion of the world, Muhammad Ali. Everyone in that audience knew exactly
the only reason why that nigga got out alive. But you being...
Why did he go there in the first place?
But you being Vlad... Not Vlad, a famous personality, just Vlad. Mm-hmm. You could go to a Klan rally and nobody's going to look at you and go, let's hang this Jew, because they don't know you're Jewish.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about me, personally, me as who I am, going to a Klan rally. I would never do it. Fuck the Ku Klux Klan.
But you're not Ali. You're not a showman. You don't have the...
I'm not a showman?
No, you're not.
I have a TV show. I have a YouTube channel with millions of followers.
Then why are you sitting on the other side of the camera?
I sit on the other side of the camera. I do interviews, don't I? I've been on No Jumper. I've been on Breakfast Club multiple times.
If you're a showman, you should be sitting where I'm sitting. We could do the interview like Ali and Howard Cosell, side by side.
Okay, it's not my style of interview.
Okay, then you're not really a showman. A showman shows themselves.
Okay.
A showman gives a presentation.
I show myself.
Do you show yourself in the same sense that I show myself? Is your career?
I don't do stage work, so no, I do not.
You don't do any kind of real camera work. Do you do TV shows where you're in front of a camera?
I've been on TV shows.
You've been on. Is that your career?
No.
Is that your bread and butter?
No.
Being a movie guy in front of a camera?
No.
All right. Doing stand-up, is that your bread and butter?
Nope.
The fuck are you talking about? I'm a showman. This is what I do.
You're more of a showman than I am.
All right, thank you. And Ali is more of a showman than you.
Yes.
Well, so that's why.
Then both of us.
So then that's why he would do what he did.
Okay.
Come on, man. You spitting in the wind.
If you want to run with that, you could run with it.
I don't have to run with it. It's facts.
Here's an interesting little tidbit when we're talking about racism and so forth. I was talking to someone about this the other day. Have you ever noticed that when it comes to plastic surgery, people get bigger asses, people get bigger tits, people get more hair? There's always a bigger thing. But when it comes to noses, no one ever gets a bigger nose. You're always chopping off a piece of your nose.
You said you're Jewish, right?
Yeah.
Turn to the side. Let me
I have a big nose.
Look at that beak.
Yeah, I got a big nose.
You toucan Sam motherfucker.
Exactly. I got a big nose. You have a big nose. But no one ever tries to get noses that look like ours. Have you ever noticed that?
No.
Think about that. And we're not just talking about black people. Go to like the Middle East. You know what I'm saying? Where I remember there was a 60 Minutes special.
Who the fuck wants a Yaphet Kotto?
What's that?
You know who Yaphet Kotto is?
No, I don't know who that is.
Google Yaphet Kotto and then look at his nose.
Yaphet Kotto?
Yeah, you never heard of Yaphet Kotto?
Yaphet Kotto.
He was in Aliens. He was in James Bond.
Okay, he has a slightly big nose, I guess.
No, you see that nigga in person. I worked with him in a movie that I did with LL Cool J. Yaphet Kotto shit looked like a fist.
This right here?
Yeah.
But just think about it for a second. You've never seen, like, look, white women get tans all the time.
Yes.
Right? They want to look more brown. White women get asses to look like black women. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because usually in the white community, you don't really have big, round asses.
Asses be as flat as notebook paper.
That's right. But you never, like, have heard of a white woman getting a nose job with a wider nose. Look at, for example, Rachel Dolezal. She went and permed her hair to make it look like she was mixed. But she didn't touch her face. She didn't make her nose wider to make it look like, you know, that she actually was a mixed person, potentially. You see what I'm saying? No one ever gets bigger noses or wider noses.
That's because white people want the ability to be able to go back once they find out the reality of being black. They want to be able to go back. They don't want to
back to being white?
They don't want to permanently fuck their shit up.
Well, I mean, I think it's because there's a European standard of beauty. Like the for whatever reason, the standard of beauty is Northern European. Small nose, small features, long hair, that type of thing. But it's really interesting to me. Like I can't quite get my head around it.
I can't speak on this as eloquently and as intelligently as Godfrey would. Because I know when he was on our podcast, he sort of addressed this. But that's almost to some degree when you say European style of beauty, longer hair, thinner noses. There are plenty of black people with those natural features.
Yeah.
Longer hair and thinner noses.
Ethiopians, for example.
Okay, so somehow how this got appointed to a European thing, meaning a white thing, is a little false when this has always been part of a black thing.
Wait, small noses have always been part of a black thing?
I'm saying whether wide noses or thinner noses, kinkier hair, nappier hair, or straighter hair, all of that has been based within the black community and black culture.
I don't get it.
What is it you don't get?
I just don't understand.
Everything stems from black people in this world.
Like everything.
Everything is black based.
Okay. I mean, the original humans were out of Africa, so you could technically say that.
I didn't technically, I did.
Okay. But go on.
There's nowhere else to go.
So basically you're saying everything comes from black people no matter what.
Black people are the start of civilization.
Okay.
We are at the base of everything. So this notion that little noses and long hair is somehow associated with the standard of European white beauty, as though somehow blacks aren't at the base of that. We're at the base of everything. So yes, you know, what you mainly have seen is the bigger lips, the wider noses, the kinkier hair, which obviously is a part of us and our culture, but so is the other shit. That's not exempt. Now do you get it?
Yeah, sort of.
What is the sort of? And this is where I'm telling you, I'm admitting, when I had Godfrey on, he was dropping the gems that made me go, oh shit. So yeah, I know of some of this, but I'm just not as eloquent and as intelligent as Godfrey is.
Okay.
Because if Godfrey were here, he would break it down way better than I could.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. One of the things, I had Carl Jones on my show. Carl Jones, he was the co-producer and kind of main artist of the Boondocks. Okay. He also did Black Dynamite. He did.
Right.
You know, he was the showrunner for The Last OG, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. He's the one that actually put me in the Boondocks. And he had made a comment how at the time he had somewhat of an issue with the Cleveland show, which shows black characters, but it's being voiced by white voice actors and being written by white writers. How do you feel about that? Like, I never actually knew that until I read that.
Yeah, no, I knew that. You know, it's
Do you watch that show, by the way?
no, because I don't like it as much as Family Guy.
Yeah. And it's a spinoff from
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Based off the Cleveland character. I just thought Family Guy was the far better show. Cleveland show just never caught me like that.
Yeah.
You know, with animation, it's different because, you know, you don't see the faces. It's about the voice.
Yeah.
So for a certain character, if there's a voice that is funnier sounding, that suits who the cartoon is, yeah, that's a little different, you know? Unless the cartoon is specifically about, you know, black culture. Not a black family, but like a historical facts within the black community. A cartoon based on factual shit.
Well, okay. I see where you're going with this, but the Cleveland show is a black
But it's fictional.
family.
It's fictional.
Well, yeah. I mean, but
If they did a cartoon,
it's all fictional.
No, but if they did
Every cartoon is
if
fictional.
they did a cartoon based on Malcolm X,
Yeah.
I would want a black guy to be the voice of a Malcolm X.
Okay.
Because that's real. A cartoon that's got nothing to do with real shit, that's different. I don't know that that's that important.
I mean, look, Regina King played both Huey and Riley on the Boondocks.
Yeah.
And I remember I talked to Carl about why they get kids to play, why they get usually adult females to play kids on animated shows is because if you use kids, their voices start to change over time, and then you end up kind of losing the character. Whereas, you know, like even on The Simpsons.
Like Cree Summer, she does from different worlds.
No, I know exactly what that
Yeah,
is.
she
What
does
does she do?
so many voiceovers for
really?
kids. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
What
I
was
mean,
it with Rugrats? She used to be one of the regulars
okay.
on Rugrats. Yeah.
I mean, Bart Simpson is played by a female.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But
And
Bart
it's like,
Simpson's not real.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I understand why they do that. I mean, or even like on Bob's Burgers, the daughter with the glasses is actually played by a man.
Right.
Because she has kind of like a deep voice sort of. And it's like, and I remember seeing a reading, and I'm like, oh shit, it's a man that plays her. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
You know, but like it gets into this whole thing of like, you know, if you have a gay, you know, if you leave the world of animation and you have a gay character, should you have a gay actor that plays that gay character? You know, where does this line get drawn? You see what I'm saying? And I mean, you've had a lot of heterosexual actors play gay characters and kill it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Tom Hanks played a gay character in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
He did well in it. I think he was nominated for an Oscar, if not winning it. I mean, what's his name? Harvey Milk was played by Sean Penn.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So do you technically think that's fine? Or do you think that they should try to find a gay actor to play a gay character in a movie?
If you're a gay actor and this is a dream role that could change your life and your career, I would imagine that as a gay person, that's an opportunity I would like to have. Whether or not you get it, that's where it gets kind of tricky. So it's hard for me to speak about those. I don't wear those shoes. So it's hard for me to speak on that. I know for black people, it's like, you know, we still don't get as many opportunities as our white counterparts. So and if you go back in time, the further back you go, even more so.
Yeah.
So to have Hollywood sometimes whitewash certain characters and do roles that was specifically meant for those people within those community, I could see how it would be bothersome to you.
West Side Story, classic film.
Yeah.
All the Puerto Ricans were played by white guys with like brown face paint.
The original West Side
The
Story.
original one,
Right. And I saw the documentary on Netflix with about Rita Moreno, and she talked about this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, if you're part of the Hispanic community,
You're like, what the fuck?
yes, yes,
You really got, you know,
because even when those white guys,
Bob Smith here playing with us.
yeah, when
like-
those white guys come out of that paint, they'll still have jobs specifically for them.
Yeah.
So the guys that don't need the paint could use those jobs.
So here's the question. I brought this up in a couple of interviews recently. In 2023, do you think you could have had a release of Tropic Thunder with Robert Downey Jr. playing a blackface character?
No, and that would be unfortunate. because that's a comedy. And with comedy, the rules are different. That's why today I don't think you could do a Blazing Saddles, which is one of the rawest, and especially at that time.
Yeah, Mel Brooks.
Yeah, edgiest comedies ever. And it's a classic, but I don't think you could do that today. And I think when it comes to comedy, part of what makes comedy special is it's you're supposed to be able to know where that line is. And sometimes, like let me give you 3 quotes from 3 legendary, beloved, respected comedians. Dave Chappelle, you don't know where the line is in comedy until you cross it. George Carlin, you should know where the line is in comedy and deliberately cross it. Patrice O'Neal, good comedy leaves the audience 50% laughing and the other 50% horrified. So when it comes to comedy,
I like that quote, actually.
Yeah, when it comes to comedy, it's a different landscape than it is in any other genre.
Right, but I actually looked it up while you were talking. Blazing Saddles came out in 1974.
Yeah.
Tropic Thunder came out in 2008.
Mm-hmm.
Not that long ago. 2008
Lots
was
changed
not
since
that,
then. No,
I would say the general, well,
it's gotten a lot more moist.
got a lot more moist. You got social media now.
Yes.
But like, for example, I brought this up with Michael Jai White. What if, for example, they announced that, Black Panther 3 will be starring Robert Downey Jr.?
Come on, man. No, we couldn't. Come on. But that's not a comedy.
That's not a comedy. That's what Michael said.
Right.
But when Tropic Thunder came out, at the time, most of my friends were black. No one had a problem with it. I didn't hear one
Black
person
people
say,
didn't have a problem.
I didn't hear one person say, like, fuck that racist shit.
It was funny.
It was funny.
It was fucking hilarious.
It was hilarious.
Now, if you do the Nelson Mandela biopic starring Woody Allen, it's going to have a problem.
Well, remember, didn't they have a Michael Jackson biopic TV series played by a white guy?
I think so.
Yeah.
And you see how that went.
Didn't go too well.
Sojourner Truth, played by Julia Roberts. Get the fuck out of here, man. No. Some things have to remain sacred and unfuckwittable.
What was the name of the, damn it, he was on Chappelle's show. Paul Mooney, yeah.
Yes.
Remember, like Paul Mooney?
The Last Nigga on Earth, starring Tom Hanks.
I still remember that bit.
Yes.
It was that funny.
Yeah.
And he was talking about The Last Samurai starring Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
He said, well, I hate this shit. You got The Last Samurai starring a white guy?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
whole Japanese
Yeah.
culture?
Yeah.
He said, starring Tom Hanks.
That is, whether we care to admit it or not, or whether the people that hear this like it or not, that is part of what has always been a little bit of America's white arrogance.
Mm.
There's nothing that the white man can't do and shouldn't do.
Well, you said, I think it was on No Jumper, that white people have no boundaries.
Yes, and there was a reason why I said that.
Okay.
In terms of context. It's the reason why when I look at one of my favorite shows on MTV, Ridiculousness, white dudes jumping off trampolines and the ceiling fans. I've seen white guys. I saw one clip where a white dude took a garbage bag out of the dumpster and cut a hole in the corner and tilted it. And a white girl let the juice that was in the garbage and she sucked it out of the bag. And on that show, white people do a lot of shit black people don't do. We have boundaries from slavery through regular black cultural life to society. We've always been told no. Nigga, stay within these parameters. So we know, even with our parents, we go to the grocery store. Nigga, don't touch that. Put that back. Boy, you bet not. Sit your ass down. Boundaries. White kids don't get told no. They do whatever they want to do. White people do whatever they want to do. It's almost offensive to you that you be told no. What do you mean I can't say nigga? What? I'm white. How dare you? That word just belonged to you. Come on, man, stop. White people have boundaries, man. That's why we dance in a 1-2 numerical bop. 1, 2, 1, 2. White people, y'all numerical bop is all over the place. 1, 7, 48, 365, 415. Y'all over the place, man.
You're saying white people have no rhythm.
No, your numerical system is off. A beat is a 1-2. 1, 2, 1, 2. White people, your numbers are crazy.
Really?
1, 15, 35, 47.
I personally think rhythm is learned, though. I don't think it's necessarily inherited.
It's absolutely inherited. Black people ain't never had to learn rhythm.
Absolutely.
When did we ever have to learn rhythm?
Everyone learns rhythm. No one is born with rhythm.
Stop right here.
No one is born with rhythm.
Stop right here.
No one's born with rhythm.
Stop right here. This is a segment that should be called Vlad Says Dumb Shit. And if you don't believe me, Vlad, when this airs, read the comments.
Listen, I have superb rhythm. I used to be a DJ, a professional DJ, toured worldwide, have plaques on my walls. My rhythm is superb. I learned rhythm.
When did you learn your rhythm?
As a kid.
How'd you learn your rhythm?
By practicing.
How? What did you do? What kind of music did you listen to?
Hip hop, R&B, rock.
Shit. During rhythm.
No, during
Rhythm.
the 80s, during the MTV era, it was everything. Whatever we listened to was on MTV. And it was white music, black music, it was whatever.
The only
MTV
black
presented.
music they played in MTV's heyday was Michael Jackson and maybe Prince.
Yo, MTV Raps. Used to watch it
That
every day.
came way after black people had protested. Give us something finally.
That came out in the 80s.
That came out in the 80s.
Yo, MTV Raps came out in the 80s.
MTV, David Bowie was so pissed off at MTV. He did an interview where he said, it's a disgrace why y'all don't play no black artists.
I agree.
So what are we talking about?
They didn't play Michael Jackson in the 80s?
They did. He was the only
They
one.
They didn't play Prince in the 80s?
They played 90% of what they played was Michael Jackson because he was the biggest motherfucker on the planet.
He was also the best.
Okay, that too.
Right.
But he wasn't the only one.
No one said he was the only one.
Okay, so when you only play one and then finally you play a second one, you think that's coincidental?
It's not coincidental. What
is it, Vlad?
What I'm saying is I listen to everything.
What is it, Vlad? Stop talking about
rhythm.
yourself for a second. You're being a narcissist. Okay. What is it, Vlad?
What is what?
What is it? That you only play Michael for so long. Mm-hmm. So much so that even black artists like Fresh Prince, Public Enemy were saying, yo, we're going to boycott the Grammys because y'all not playing no black artists.
Fresh Prince didn't boycott the Grammys. He actually went there and won.
Okay, well then it was it was Chuck D and some other artists. But nigga, you get my fucking point. Fuck out of here. You get my point.
Because in fact, everyone was pissed off that Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince won the first Grammy because they were considered some kind of like bubblegum rap at the time.
White safe. So let's
agree.
do the math.
I didn't agree.
Let's do the math.
I didn't agree.
You only have Michael Jackson because he's the biggest and best cultural pop icon at the time, and you can't not have him. Then you finally open up the door a little bit more and you allow Prince. You don't play no rap artists at all. You get boycotted. And then the first artist to win a fucking Grammy is Fresh Prince and Jazzy Jeff, two guys who make white people feel safe. This is all a coincidence?
Yo MTV Raps launched in 1988.
Okay.
With Fab Five Freddy.
Okay.
And then it got so popular that it turned into...
Vlad, what point are you making? What point are you making about eventuality? It was eventual.
Are we talking about eventuality or are we talking about rhythm? Because these are two different conversations.
No, they're not two different conversations. No? Eventually, white people would get rhythm. We always had it.
Eventually, white people get rhythm.
You learned everything you learned from black artists who have rhythm.
At the time, I learned from white artists and black artists because the MTV era was very mixed.
Who did you profit off of more? So black artists or the white ones?
What in terms of my
as a DJ?
As a DJ, I was a hip hop DJ, so obviously black artists.
Okay, what conversation are we having that you're trying to be slick with?
I'm not trying to be
slick.
You
are Fred Astaireing your way around this whole fucking thing.
All I'm saying is my rhythm, I had no rhythm when I first started. You know, when I look at kids, a lot of kids don't have any rhythm.
If you go on,
it gets learned.
If you go on Instagram and you look at little black kids dance, little black kids, they're in pocket. Mm-hmm. They're in pockets. So
because they've probably been dancing and practicing. They're not
bored. You think they was
with
dancing in their mother womb?
You're saying that little black kids could dance at 1 year old, 6 months old? Seriously?
It's inherent for us. We are a rhythmic people.
I agree to disagree.
We are a rhythmic people. It inherently comes from us.
From the DNA, from your DNA.
So then
So you're saying there's no offbeat black people? I know plenty. I know plenty. I know so many black people who can't dance,
and there
who
are
have
black
no
women
rhythm.
with flat asses like white women. But that's not the norm. White tigers exist, but that's not the norm. Albino gorillas exist. That's not the norm. I've seen albino alligators. That's not the norm.
Okay.
Come on, man.
I'm not going for this whole DNA rhythm shit. You're making
so
that,
why is
you're
so,
making that
so
up.
why is it
you are making
so
that
why
up.
no I'm
Aries.
not making it up.
You're
Look, it's in the history.
Is there any science behind what you're saying? Is there any science whatsoever?
So then how come is it that I could go to any fucking club anywhere in the country? Hold up. I can go to any club anywhere in the country and look at 45-year-old white men dance like toddlers. You see 45-year-old black men dancing like they can't? Show me a nigga that's 40-something years old that don't know how to move.
Okay.
And black.
Okay.
I can show you a bunch of white people that's in their 40s that look ridiculous.
Not me. I'm 50.
Hello, white tiger.
I can dance
Hello,
like a
white
motherfucker.
tiger.
I got great rhythm.
And you owe niggas a residual.
I used to break
and you owe niggas some residuals.
I owe residuals.
You owe residuals. We taught you. You fed off a huge black fat mammy mama titty, nigga. You owe Beulah some change.
We can agree and disagree, man.
We ain't disagreeing. I'm right. I'm right. You're wrong.
We can agree and disagree.
All right. Let the comment section tell the truth.
The comment section's going to go crazy.
They're going to tell the truth.
It's going to go crazy. It's going to go crazy, and I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. All I know
Every
is
time you see a white motherfucker being cool, I don't give a fuck who they are.
Mm-hmm.
They got it from us. They learned it from us. We are the blueprint.
Okay. Elon Musk?
Who said he was cool?
I think Elon Musk is pretty cool, man.
Thank you for showing me you white again.
I fuck with Elon Musk.
Thank you for showing me you white again.
I drive his cars. I like his technology. I like his not give a fuck attitude.
That ain't got shit to do with rhythm. What's that got to do with rhythm and soul?
We're not talking about rhythm and soul right now. I'm just talking about in general. It's talking about cool.
Yeah, that's what white people do. Y'all deflect.
Deflect.
When you lose the argument, you bring up some other shit that ain't got nothing to do with what we talking about.
You talked about nipple rings at one point. You know, you.
Did I?
Yes. I think on your podcast. You say that if you had a nipple ring, it'd be like a Super Bowl ring.
No, oh my God, dude. Context, nigga.
Am I fucking a joke?
No. There's a character that I do on my podcast called Bobby Patterson.
Bobby Patterson. Tell me about Bobby Patterson.
Bobby Patterson is he's a Bostonian who is infatuated with Tom Brady.
Okay.
Tom Brady is a god to him. Mm-hmm. Fucking Bobby Patterson, kid. The fucking guy Tom Brady's fucking wicked, kid. He's the greatest Anglo-Saxon, cleft-chin, square-jawed white man that God ever fucking produced. I love me Tom Brady. Let me tell you something. If I had a choice to fuck Tom Brady or his wife Giselle, the model, I'm fucking Tom Brady every day of the week and twice on Sundays because that's football day. That's who Bobby Patterson is.
Okay.
He's obsessed with anything Boston, but especially Tom Brady. So the joke was, we were talking about nipple rings, and I said, not that I would ever get nipple rings, but if I did, I'd get Tom Brady's championship rings pierced to my nipples. And the only thing that would be cooler than that is if he actually stuck his fingers in the fucking rings. So we're face to face. Fucking wicked. The guy's to die for. That's what the joke is.
Do you do shows in Boston?
Yeah.
Is it true what they say that Boston is a little more racist than other cities?
You know, I haven't felt it only because, you know, I wasn't there in the heyday, in the 70s and the boy, what they call it, the bus, where they was bussing in black people to go to their schools. And it was like really vicious. So the 70s and 80s, I wasn't a part of that, but I'm not going to sit here and say that's a shock. You know what I mean? It's America, man.
What do you think is the most racist city you've performed in?
You know, it's weird, man, because, you know, obviously we know racism exists. Mm-hmm. I think in my lifetime, I've had 2 white people call me nigga. But, you know, to say I haven't felt it the way I would have felt it if I were a part of the 60s or the 70s or, you know, even the early 80s, in which in the 80s, I was in my childhood. I was born in 75. So by 80, I was 5 years old, you know. But again, I know the history. I know it exists. But I thank God that I didn't come up in a generation or a time where I felt the sting of it the way my parents did or their parents did.
For example, I interviewed Dominique Wilkins. He went to high school in North Carolina. Okay. And when he was getting ready to go to college, during that time, if you went to North Carolina, you would go to college, North Carolina, a la Michael Jordan. But he decided to go to Georgia instead. When they found out that he was not going to stay in their conference as a college player, they burned a cross on his front lawn.
Well, I would tell you this, in the 70s, if you were a great player in the state of North Carolina, you don't leave the ACC. That was almost against the law. You don't leave the ACC. And I was the first one to buck the system. I actually signed a letter of intent with North Carolina State. But at the last minute, I changed my mind because they were comparing me to be the next David Thompson and all this, and I didn't want to be compared to my, well, that's part of it. But Georgia it was just the right placement because I went there with 5 other high school All-Americans, so we all went at the same time. So it wasn't like I went there by myself. But once I made that decision, all hell broke loose in the state of North Carolina. I got F's on my transcript, paint poured on my car, windows busted out in the house, theft threats, and a cross burning in my front yard.
Okay. And I was going to ask you about this part. Here you are, you're an 18-year-old kid, and you're minding your business, you're in your living room, and suddenly you see this huge light outside your window.
Yeah.
And as you open the curtain, it's a burning cross.
I didn't even open the curtain. I was like, I'm puzzled. Like, what is this big bright light? So I go out the front door, and as I get to the front yard, there's a big cross burning in my yard. And I remember being very nervous and scared to being very angry, to the point where, anything could have happened if anybody showed up at my front door. I mean, I was very upset and angry about that because I've never seen that. Coming out of Baltimore, you don't see stuff like that. But it was the South, so nothing ever surprised you in the South, especially in those days.
This is some shit I've never met anyone that's had that happen to them.
Right.
Much less someone close to my age.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's probably like 10 years older than me. They full blown burned a cross. And then it didn't stop there. They painted his mom's car black.
Well, yeah, I mean,
they tried to arrest him over stealing a tape to the point where that night they basically had to pack up all their things and leave North Carolina, and he didn't go back for 25 years.
Well, I mean, obviously we're going back further in time, which is to say it was worse. But
70s.
Okay, but even, look at Bill Russell. He won championships for Boston, and they broke into his house and wrote nigga on his wall with fucking feces.
Didn't he say that I play for the Celtics but not for Boston?
Yeah. And when he retired and had his jersey hung in the rafters, he did it privately with just him and his teammates. He didn't do it in the arena in front of a crowd. Yeah, no. He hung up it was a private ceremony because that's how much he disliked the city of Boston.
Wow.
Because of their treatment to him.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So the 2 racist moments you're talking about, what was the situation?
I don't remember. I think it was one time I was at a light and a white woman was walking past my car and I locked my door and she called me a nigga for that. I mean, how dare you lock your door scared of me, nigga? I saw her and I don't know what made me do it. I just went, oh, white woman. She called me nigga.
I mean, shit, I remember my first real job. It was Pete and D's Pizza in San Mateo. My coworker, who was Greek, he was like, I don't know, maybe 25, 30 years old. And I remember when he found out I was Jewish, he said Hitler was right for killing off all the Jews.
Wow.
He said that to I was like maybe 13 at the time. I was 13. Imagine a 13-year-old being told that by a grown-ass man. And I remember my parents came to the shop to talk to him, and he just denied it all. He denied ever saying it. But clearly, I would make up some shit.
Yeah.
Like this. You know what I'm saying? I went home and I cried, and I quit the job afterwards.
Right.
But I remember this man told me to my face, Hitler was right. All the Jews need to be killed off. And it's going to happen again. Little moments like that, man, really stick to you. I'm sure the person probably doesn't even remember it, if they're still alive or not. But these moments, man, just oof.
Maybe you should have used the rhythm you had to dance your way into some better emotions.
Hey, man, you ain't fucking my rhythm, though, man. My rhythm is superb. I can out-rhythm most people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, you have to have a high level of rhythm to be a DJ. Or else you're going to be laughed off, the DJ booth.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I used to be a breakdancer, but a lot of it was me practicing. You know what I'm saying? But, hey, man, listen. I remember you said, I think on No Jumper, that you don't like any drill music. You said it all sounds alike.
Yeah.
So there's no, like, drill artist, no nothing?
No, man. I come from a place of quality, man. I come from an era where shit was good.
Shit is still good.
I came from the best.
Still got to look for it.
Yeah, I didn't have to look back then. It was there.
It's still there.
Yeah, but now
There's just more options
look.
now.
Yeah, man, you
Well,
have to look.
you're going to have to look because...
Well, give me less options, but make it where I don't have to look.
Well, I mean, the algorithm kind of helps you find it on its own. You see what I'm saying? Like, if you're listening to, let's say, the new Nas album, it'll probably find you some similar music as the next song.
Sounds like some CGI shit to me.
Some AI shit?
Some AI shit. AI shit. That's what I meant.
I don't know, man. I don't try to be the old man on the porch the way, you know.
I don't think you should view it as being an old man on a porch, you know?
I love new music, man. I love new shit. I don't want to keep listening, you know, to everything. You know what's actually interesting? Me and Boosie were talking about this in our last interview. I asked him to name a top female rapper who doesn't constantly have her ass and titties out. And he could not name it.
Isn't there a thing where they said that there hasn't been a real hit song in hip hop in like some time now?
Yeah, Doja Cat actually recently changed that. Her new song.
I know, but prior to that, what was the quote? What was the actual quote?
There was no hip hop songs that went number one in 2023 until this
for the whole year.
For the whole year, yeah.
Now, when in my era did that happen?
Oh, number one hip hop songs in your era? Hip hop songs were not going to number one at all in the 90s, ever.
In the 90s and 2000, there were no number one hip hop songs?
Very few. Hip hop was not dominating, was not pop music.
It was the
back
number
then.
one form of music.
Not in the 90s, it wasn't. Absolutely not. Absolutely
Rapping
not.
hip hop?
In the 90s?
In the 90s.
You're bugging. No.
So when was it the number one form of music?
You might be right.
Apologize to me, nigga.
I apologize. Hip hop became.
Stop thinking you know more
Hip-hop-
shit
hip-hop
about
became-
black culture than fucking black people.
Here we go. So you're actually right. Listen.
You know your facts like you know your rhythm, nigga.
Okay.
Fuck out of here.
Hip hop became a best-selling genre in the mid-90s and the top-selling music genre by 1999. So by 1999, it became the top-selling genre.
Okay, but prior to that, you telling me no number ones?
Now you're talking about songs or albums? Because a lot of albums would go number one. Like, for example, I think like NWA would go number one, but the songs itself.
Give me both. Give me both.
Okay, number one.
Mr. Tight Fingers.
All right, I'm wrong. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to break it down for you. So the first.
Wrong on both accounts of one.
Excuse me?
Wrong on both accounts of one. Album versus songs.
Well, no. I've always said that albums would go number one.
So songs, you're
I'm
wrong.
talking about songs.
And you were wrong about the genre being number one too, right?
That's right.
Don't you ever say another motherfucking word to me, dude.
Okay, so the
You're a
first.
troll, nigga.
I'm not a troll. I sometimes not get. I don't get it right sometimes.
But you think you get it more right than me. And this is just my pigmentation. I live in this skin.
Okay. So the number one hip hop song was Self-Destruction.
Okay.
1989.
I don't care what song it was.
Me, Myself, and I, De La Soul.
You can give me
89.
all of that all day. I'm telling you in terms of the placement, like I said, I come from excellence. I'm not the old man on the porch. I'm the rich nigga in the mansion. Fuck up my driveway, nigga.
The fuck out of my driveway.
Yeah, nigga. I own a driveway, not a porch.
That's how we're gonna end it. Aries
No,
Spears.
this is how we gonna end it.
Okay, how we gonna end it?
The podcast, baby.
Podcast.
Spears and Steinberg available on all streaming platforms. Please go to our YouTube channel, Spearsburg Pod. Hit subscribe. If you like any exchange that you saw here on any of these episodes, that's what my podcast is, times a million. Hit me up on Instagram, Aries Spears. Slide in my DMs. I'll send you the links. Vlad.
Peace.